Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching second part of What If Naruto Became the First Chakra Sage. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
On a field in the open the following day. In the clearing were Gamabunta, Katsuyu, Enma, Suzaku, Felgrand, Kiddo, an 8-tailed kitsune, and a few others with one tail each. They looked like all the tailed beasts except for the one that looked like the Nanabi no Kabutomushi. However, a human wearing a Takigakure headband was present. Hinata, Sasuke, and Naruto emerged in front of Kiddo, Felgrand, and Suzaku, who nodded and brought in their summoners. After Gamabunta, Enma, and Katsuyu nodded and called in their summoners, Jiraiya, Sarutobi, and a blonde woman who appeared somewhat perplexed by the change in the scene, as well as Katsuyu, said, "Katsuyu, what the hell is going on here?" "I apologize, Tsunade, but you must attend this meeting." The giant slug retorted, "I would have taken them instead if there had been another summoner of the slugs." "All right, just explain the purpose of this meeting, and they can forget it if I have to return to Konohagakure." Drawing her attention, Felgrand said, "This meeting does not require your presence as a ninja or a Sannin, but as a summoner of the slug clan. Tsunade Senju of the Sannin." "Which one is she here for, Suzuku?" Hinata pointed to the Takigakure ninja present and asked. "Hinata, I'm not sure. Every summoner ought to assemble in the center. Then, we'll start with introductions," Suzaku said, turning to the others. The other one appeared as well, but she was a little hesitant. Sarutobi glanced at her and said, "May I ask why a Takigakure Kunoichi is here as well?" Jiraiya, Tsunade, Sarutobi, Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata nodded and went up there. "Since I am his host, the Nanabi no Kabutomushi sent me the message about this meeting. Due to their current state of disarray, the other Kabutomushi are unable to attend at this time. My name is Fu," the girl said, "but they asked me to come in their place." "So, you're also a Jinchuriki?" "Naruto Uzumaki." "Namikaze," Naruto said, grabbing her attention. He extended his hand to her, and she reluctantly accepted it. "However, not many people are aware of the Namikaze component of my ancestry," he said, referring to Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. "I don't advise you to tell anyone about that because it had to be kept confidential." "Noted," was Fu's response. Sarutobi remarked, "I assume you won't return with us, Tsunade." "You are correct about that," the blonde woman said. "I have no reason to be there now that Kushina and Minato are dead and their son didn't make it." Jiraiya pointed to Naruto and said, "That's where you're wrong, Tsunade." She noticed his serious expression as he pointed out that he was staying at Minato's former residence. He happens to be present, and is talking with the Takigakure Kunoichi. Only Kakashi, his son, and I would be able to enter the clearing because of the barrier there. According to the reports, he entered by accident. Since then, he has remained there. Sasuke, Hinata, Fu, and Naruto approached them. "All right, Jiraiya. You've been telling her what? What brings her here? You had better refrain from attempting to ogle her. Please. She caught me doing that the last time, and I got severely beaten. Since then, I haven't used Tsunade for my research." Jiraiya answered, "You know, I don't have a death wish." Tsunade said, "And you're lucky that's the case." She turned to face Naruto and noticed that he bore a striking resemblance to a person from her past. "Blondie, what's your name?" "Uzumaki." "Namikaze Naruto." "Regretfully, I go by Naruto Uzumaki because of the foolishness of the council and the enemies my father created." "Really? Are you acquainted with your parents?" "Of course." Naruto replied. "After all, I have been reading up on my heritage, and the Kyuubi no Kitsune is sealed within me." "Present the seal to me. I am aware of its intended appearance. Note that there's also a 5-pronged seal there so I can finish up my chakra control training," Naruto said, removing enough of his shirt to reveal it. "Hey, you know, I had to make some progress." "Why didn't you send a toad to tell me he was alive?" Tsunade asked, turning to face Jiraiya. "The toads were busy trying to inform everyone, so I didn't find out until a few weeks ago. In addition, he's still a fresh Jenin, so it would have taken too long for me to locate you in person," Jiraiya continued. "Only a few people in the village are aware of his father. You can see Minato just by looking at him." Tsunade approached Naruto after glancing at him and saying, "Look, Naruto. I am aware that you were my mother's sensei and the person who would have assisted in my delivery. From the moment Kyuubi was released until it was sealed into me, I already know the day I was born. As soon as I was delivered, Arut Anbu called you away and said you were needed somewhere else. That was a serious error, and Danzo was responsible. Despite the death of my parents, Naruto assured her, I am still alive and kicking. Are you able to overlook my absence? Sighing, Naruto answered, already have. Don't worry too much about me, I'm fine. However, I would appreciate it if someone else would support me against that foolish council. You probably don't want to deal with those jerks, though. Tsunade chuckled and said, hey, without ever meeting me, he already knows I want nothing to do with the council. For you, I might as well. However, I can't guarantee that the idiots will survive long after I return. In response, Naruto said, I wouldn't be surprised if they did go down like that. Some of them actually deserve it. By the way, how much have you learned from those files I got for you? He asked Sarutobi, turning to face him. Much more than I'm sure how to handle. I haven't even read half of it yet, but we have more than enough to put Danzo on trial, Sarutobi said. After we got it out of there, Kyuubi did tell me that, for someone as paranoid as him, he keeps pretty detailed records. Naruto acknowledged. I'll say. Sarutobi answered, leaving Tsunade perplexed. Alright, what the devil is happening? My team has been receiving assistance with training from Lord Kyuubi, as he is known. He supported me prior to my graduation, and he reciprocated my efforts to assist Hinata. After some time, Sasuke was added to that list. Don't worry too much about it, Naruto said. Sarutobi acknowledged, he's done nothing but help so far, so I'm not worried about it anymore. Jiraiya acknowledged, yeah, he's given advice to me as well. I heard he gave Kakashi some advice, but he didn't describe it to me. His only warning was to avoid upsetting Naruto or we would regret it. Alright, let's start this meeting, Tsunade grunted. Even though I initially believed my godson was dead, I still want to be able to assist him. Similar to me, but I still need to keep an eye on my spy network. He should be prepared in a few days because his control training is almost over. However, you're right, Tsunade. Try by the end of tomorrow. Naruto said. This show needs to go on the road. Alright, Suzaku, Gamabunta said, glancing at the others. We had an unspoken alliance because, as I have been informed, Minato can also summon from your clan. What are you talking about, Gamabunta? No one can summon from more than one summoning clan, Enma inquired. Enma, I have seen proof it is possible. Sarutobi responded, Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze, the son of my late successor, can summon from two of the others here. Sarutobi, that should, by all accounts, be impossible. Considering the fact two different chains are used, it actually is possible. Naruto stated to the elderly monkey. I have a contract with the Kitsune clan and Phoenix clan. I plan on going for toads sometime in the future. The standard chain is the same for the toad, slug, and monkey clans. Sarutobi informed him, as far as I know, the others here have different chains to summon them. Suzaku remarked, now that that's resolved, we can discuss the first subject. The unspoken alliance has become a full-fledged alliance between the Toad and Phoenix clans. That's what Fukasaku said. Gamabunta nodded, he had already told me about this. Additionally, I've been instructed to apologize to the Kitsune clan if they appear. He was informed by Kiddo that, we already know the circumstances and do not fault you for your actions that night. Minato was already aware that Sasuke would not have wanted to fight Lord Kyuubi because of our alliance. Gamabunta, that's why he called you. The next best thing was you. So everything is forgiven? That was a lot easier than I thought, Gamabunta said, receiving a nod from the Kitsune. Avoid growing accustomed to it. Normally, we wouldn't be this forgiving, but we understand that the situation calls for it. Kiddo, I think it's time we let the others know the biggest topic that is to be discussed, Felgrand said, glancing at Kiddo. I'll explain it because it relates to the Bijuu. Due to his status as a Bijuu, Lord Kyuubi is in danger. First of all, who among us is unaware of the Bijuu's bane? Along with the humans, except for Sasuke and Naruto, Gamabunta, Katsuyu, and Enma raised their hands. Sasuke Uchiha, I assume. You mean it, Lord Felgrand? Why do you know of him? Sasuke asked. I have had conversations with my mother, who is a ghost in the Uchiha clan estate. It was she who introduced me to him. Uchiha? Felgrand, are you an idiot? Kiddo yelled. Kiddo, the actions of my ancestor do not warrant a fury toward him. Since he was the cause of the Uchiha clan's humiliation all those years ago, I plan to assist in any manner I can. I've had enough of fighting Itachi Uchiha. Our greatest threat is Madara Uchiha. If it will help, I can provide you with information about the Sharingan because I am a Uchiha myself. Whatever you want to do to Madara, I'm all for it because he will pay for his actions. Sasuke clenched his fists. He must be in pain. Felgrand was taken aback by his statement. Kiddo, how do you feel about his statement? Idiotic. No one like the Uchiha clan, who take pride in their heritage, would ever pursue that. That was prior to Itachi destroying the clan except for me. There were many haughty bastards in the old Uchiha clan. I am the first member of the new Uchiha clan, along with Itachi. One that will not succumb to conceit or rely on their Sharingan. With a voice full of resolve, Sasuke declared, I'll make sure of that. The new Uchiha clan will be run differently, believe it or not. Vengeance and arrogance will not be tolerated. I nearly became one of them myself. I've come to realize that's not the proper approach. Madara has to pay, and I want to be there for him no matter what happens as long as he suffers. Kiddo studied Sasuke and remained silent. Hey, what are you aware of? He wouldn't pass, in my opinion. Suzaku said, told you he would. Did you not set that up to see exactly where he stands? Naruto inquired. Hey, if I wasn't certain that he was really on our side, I couldn't let him assist. I'm happy that he has proven himself. You are very different from the other Uchiha I have encountered. Sasuke Uchiha. I am grateful for that. You wanted to see how I really stand, then? And you played me like a fiddle, Sasuke inquired. However, I can't claim I didn't see that coming. Kiddo told him, I am glad you understand the situation. According to Sasuke, I may not agree with the methods, but they do work. He will undoubtedly come for him eventually because he is pursuing Naruto here. We can be prepared for him when he does arrive if we practice waiting. However, we are unable to inform anyone else of this. And what's the reason? A turtle inquired. Madara is not stupid, but he is conceited, as he is a Uchiha. Until he realizes he has all the cards in his hand, he probably won't reveal himself. When there is no one to stop him, he is probably going to remain hidden until then and only act in the background. Sasuke added, he probably would have some sort of organization gather the Bijuu for him while he waits. That's what they're after. Jiraiya swore, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. Akatsuki. The Bijuu has always been involved. Naruto snarled, it's clear he has another objective if they're pursuing the Bijuu. The Jubi. The summons either went pale or snarled. He must want the Jubi if he is pursuing them. With this information, we must take action, Suzaku stated. We have a Uchiha on our side, Kiddo said, turning to Sasuke. Wait, Suzaku, we can take advantage of this. Sasuke acknowledged, I apologize, but even though I am the clan heir, I am not that knowledgeable about the Uchiha clan. I would need to do some research, but like all Uchiha, you have to either outnumber them by a ridiculous amount, get them out of their blind spot, or stay out of their eyes entirely. No one here would trust me, so I haven't bothered to awaken my Sharingan yet. You would need to keep an eye out for fire. The Sharingan is actually divided into 3 levels. To top it off, Madara is the only one to reach the 3rd level. After extended use, Itachi, who has only reached the 2nd level, is likely to become blind. Unless I wake it up and he takes my Mangekyo Sharingan, that is. Oh, you believe that we couldn't rely on Uchiha? He's a lot smarter than one would think, Felgrand said. But even if you didn't want me for this, I'd still help out on my end, Sasuke said, adding, I couldn't afford a bad impression, so I was hoping to not bother activating it until after I can prove myself to you. I want Madara to pay because I'm a Uchiha. I will assist Lord Kyuubi and the other Bijuu in my capacity as a summoner of the dragons. Both are made possible by being here. I will assist in any manner I can because I want to be a part of this. They all nodded, and Enma said, the Monkey Clan is in. Having a Uchiha on our side, while our opponent is a Uchiha, will give us an advantage. The Slug Clan is also in. This is known to the Toads. He is responsible for Minato. The representatives of Bijuu all concurred. The dragons are in. The Phoenix Clan is in. Looks like we're all in agreement. Naruto said, I think we should let the other Jinchuriki know of this, after everyone had nodded. If they do, they can then get ready, which would be beneficial. Additionally, someone knowledgeable about seals would be required to determine whether their seals are unstable. If there is one here, then they might as well check me out, Fu replied. Then I'd have to refrain from doing anything I'd regret. Jiraiya acknowledged, unless Naruto has adequate knowledge of demonic sealing, I'd have to check your seal. Why me? Naruto inquired. As a Jinchuriki, you are. Jiraiya remarked, if you don't have enough knowledge of it, though you should if you've been through everything in Minato's library. You're like siblings of circumstance. You already know that I've done that, hee. Ninjutsu and Genjutsu ones are the only ones I haven't looked through. I've refrained from touching them. Naruto acknowledged, it would be a good idea to know where the seal is before I inspect it. I should know enough, but if there's something wrong, I won't be able to fix it easily. Fu said, my lower back. Lay down on your stomach after that. After a few minutes, Naruto grinned and said, I may be a little off, but it does seem stable. Regardless of the One Piece I think could be a little better. Jiraiya approached the seal and followed suit. It should help, Naruto said, running the seal scan. Gosh. It's true, Jiraiya said. Fu, wake up. Your seal is stable, so nothing needs to be done to it. The chakra filter, though, could use some improvement. The rest is as good as it can be. At least not without going too far. Thanks, Fu said, nodding and standing up. I intend to take the upcoming Chunnin exams. Sarutobi said, the next one would be held in Konohagakure. Well, we've got everything covered for the time being, Kidodo replied. Lady Shukaku's host is unstable, the Tanuki said. Wait, Kidodo. Sabaku no Gaara is his name. As far as I can tell, his seal is at best shabby. Some Tanuki are keeping an eye on him for me. Since the case cage began sending assassins after his own father, he has been crazed for years. Gosh. We'll need to exercise caution if we encounter him, Hinata remarked. We're calling out the leaders of our summoning clans if we have to battle him to the death. Naruto stated, if I have the toads at that time, I'll be using a different chain than the Kitsune summoning to bring out Lady Suzaku, Gamabunta, and Lord Kyuubi. I'll bring out Lord Kidodo. Hinata continued, that is, if I have the reserves to summon him. Lord Hokage, if he does go crazy near the village, I think you should make sure that no one else interferes with the fight, Sasuke continued, adding, I'll be summoning Lord Felgrand for that. Things are going to get a little risky. It will need to be handled by the three of us. With a force like that, I wouldn't be surprised if shit hit the fan faster than Guy could run. Sarutobi laughed, and Enma shuddered. Hey, my own subordinates telling me what to do. That guy is not sane. He simply has a peculiarity. Such as Tsunade's drinking and gambling patterns and Jiraiya's perverted inclinations, Sarutobi remarked. Naruto giggled. Everyone that's among the high ranks have some kind of quirk that makes them seem crazy, or insane. Gamabunta remarked, I could never find one for Minato for the life of me. The boy was like a saint. But he did have one weakness. He had a strong sense of loyalty. Naruto remarked, can't say I'm surprised. We will inform the Jinchuriki who are not present of the situation. The one-tailed cephalopod. Ox said, Bakaneko. Kumo is where ours are. We will inform the Phoenix clan of their identities so that they can inform the people in Konohagakure as well as the Alliance. All right. The cat and the cephalopod. Ox departed in smoke and were gone. Since Sanbi was just released from prison, I will inform him. After saying, Water Country is my target, the turtle received a few nods in response and departed. He will need to know. The Yonbi Jinchuriki has been wandering for a while, but he has roots in Iwagakure, the lava monkey said next. The same is true of the Gobi. The dolphin. Dog gave a nod of approval, and they both departed after saying, we should both check there. I'm already aware of this, so we don't need to let the Nanabi know, Fu replied. Naruto stated, the Kyuubi already knows, so we're good. If Gaara decides to visit Konohagakure, I will then inform him to look for you. He will be aware that you support him and are able to assist him, the Tanuki stated. Before the Tanuki departed in smoke, Naruto answered, will do. Jiraiya, we're done here. Gamabunta replied. You have other things to take care of. Jiraiya and Gamabunta said, right, and departed. Katsuyu remarked, Tsunade, we should get going as well. I need to have a brief conversation with the council, so as soon as I return to the elemental nations, I'm heading to Konohagakure, Tsunade declared. Tell them I'm returning, sensei. They departed after she turned to Katsuyu and nodded, saying, and I'm pissed. Fu. I look forward to seeing you at the Chunnin exams. Sarutobi turned to face Enma and said, let's go, Enma. The two of them departed in smoke. You three are the decisive elements in this situation, Kidodo yelled, Hinata, Naruto, Sasuke. You'll be included, Fu, but watch out for what happens. If something happens that puts you in danger, we'll let you know. Thank you, sir. I should be returning to my own village, Fu said. Naruto, I hope to see you again soon. Of course, Fu. Please be advised that I am already engaged. I would probably want you to be there as well if it weren't for that, Naruto continued. Hinata smiled, but there was something in her voice as she said, Naruto. Hi, Naruto. You mentioned having a bloodline, didn't you? Sasuke inquired, and Naruto's eyes, along with those of Hinata and Fu, widened. Oh shish. Exactly, Naruto yelled. What? Suzaku inquired. The act for clan restoration. The council would probably put me under its jurisdiction and make me take several wives. The problem is that I don't want anyone who doesn't already know about my bloodline to know, Naruto remarked. After they all nodded, Hinata turned to face Fu, examined her, and even used the Byakugan to enhance her analysis. She's good in my book, Hinata said. I'd be happy to let her in if you wish to go for the CRA. Additionally, this could improve relations with Tokigakure. Felgrand and Sasuke exchanged nods before departing, and Sasuke grunted, well then, I think we're done here. Should we let you three be alone? Kitodo inquired. No, I believe that this is how we're doing. Well, let's go for it, Naruto continued, adding, but before we meet up outside, Hinata and I will need to know as much as we can. Tsunade, and that's why you have tasked to do this. A red-headed man stood in a room with another older man, a male in a black catsuit, and a sandy blonde woman wearing a battle kimono. In front of the redhead, a tiny tanuki materialized. I assume that Sabaku no Gaara? Who are you? Speak fast or perish. Only you can hear the news that the tanuki have for you. To tell you this, we have to go where no one else can. It addresses your condition, the diminutive tanuki uttered. Gaara gazed at the object, and the other three gave him a terrified look before saying, let's go. They both departed in a whirlpool of sand. What do the tanuki want with me? They asked, standing in the middle of the desert. They want to alert you to impending events. An alliance has been formed to deal with the threat, but you should be aware of it as well. He answered, no one else can know. Also, look for a boy named Naruto Uzumaki if you are attending the Chunnin exams in Konohagakure. He is a Jinchuriki Bijuu, just like you. He is a member of this alliance as well. Lady Shukaku would understand the perils of disturbing the Phoenixian alliance, which has included the Mount Myoboku toads, slugs, and monkey clans, and he would not be killed. Normally emotionless, Gaara's eyes widened and he said, Mother said that something was up. I am aware that you refer to Lady Shukaku as your mother. Although she is not your biological mother, she can act as a stand-in. If you hear me, Lady Shukaku. The bane of the Bijuu has made a comeback and is pursuing the Jubi. As we speak, the Bijuu are being filled in. With a stern expression, Gaara declared, this is top priority. Tell the Jinchuriki in Konohagakure that there is a problem with the case cage. Lately, he has been behaving very oddly. I know, but no one else does. I'm not sure what this means, but it can't be positive. That Jinchuriki may examine your seal as well. We think it's broken, and maybe the people in Konohagakure can fix it. Act normally for the time being, but take a particular interest in Naruto Uzumaki. Since he is mentally stable, no one else should be aware that he is a Jinchuriki and should therefore like you. Gaara expressed astonishment, saying, if he is like me, then there must be a difference between our upbringing. No, the majority of his village still despises him. Keep him going as best I can with the few ties he has. The Kitsune clan tells me that his drive, or the reason he continues, is to protect. For the time being, act as you already are and keep your actions hidden from others. For us all, this is the best course of action. The Kitsune or Phoenix clan will notify us when your seal will be repaired. And now for the last part. A scroll materialized. What is this, too? Despite the malice in his tone, Gaara asked. The summoning contract of Tanuki. To sign this, Lady Shukaku might permit a tiny bit of blood. After we sign, we can go straight to you rather than needing to show up at some random desert location and only needing to use her to find you. After a moment of waiting and nodding, Gaara signed his name as instructed and then imprinted his fingertips, the wound already healed, and said, Lady Shukaku will teach you the signs, as I can't do much else there. The sand had cut his thumb enough to bleed, and it did sting a little, until the following time. The Tanuki vanished into the smoke. How long do I have to continue the blood-crazed maniac act, Mother? Gaara sighed. Only until your father, who is a complete idiot, passes away. That was the original plan, anyway. He appears to be dead already. We will wait until the invasion is over for the time being. Behave and respond as you normally would. Later, I'll send you the chain. Do not kill the Uzumaki. He must live if anyone else does. I have no intention of confronting the Phoenixian alliance. Even for a Bijuu, it's a death wish. Unfortunately, my mindset would drive me insane if you let me use the playing possum jutsu. And that's a seal in your village. I remain somewhat sane as long as I'm in here. Mother, I get it. I take it you heard him say that I'm not your biological mother? Yes, but my father doesn't even behave the way you say a father should, and you are the only one close enough for that position. He's a power-hungry fool, which is why, before they become frightened and begin to riot, let's return. Gaara said, "Yes, mother," and departed in a sand shunshin. Sarutobi found himself alone in his office, with only his double present. The person seated in the chair gave a nod, changed back into Naruto, and stood up again. "No one seems to have noticed, Lord Hokage." "I understand. But how was the paperwork?" asked Sarutobi. Sarutobi nearly gaped when Naruto said, "Actually, somewhat easy." "Easy? That paperwork is the only thing that no Kage has ever defeated?" "Well, I got 82 mission reports done and filed away, had 2 other shadow clones do the paperwork, and still had time to give out a few pieces of advice, as per your schedule. I walked straight down the street as you, and they didn't look twice. By the way, I'll be giving you a few pieces of advice with the village security. These may be peace times, but I have a feeling that's going to end soon," replied Naruto. "Well then, you will have the pay transferred to your account. This B rank would easily be considered a test run for your term as Hokage one day." Sarutobi responded, "I will have the paperwork for this mission myself. Also, know that the next council meeting will involve you. I've already got you instated as Kushina's heir, and therefore the head of the Uzumaki clan." The clone bowed and said, "I must thank you, Lord Hokage. Also, when you dispel, you should know that you have more help on the way, regarding the council. Just be careful with the information. However, I do have one question. How did Sasuke learn of the truth?" "That would be the boss's fault. He helped him out, by getting rid of the arrogance, and helping Sasuke talk to his mother, who is currently a ghost in the Uchiha clan." "I see. So, he found out from his mother?" A smile. "Then I can't do anything." The cover story was "So the masses don't panic. The elders are idiotic fools, and you know Danzo was planning something else regarding it." "That I do, and we've already found out how to get over it. One last thing. If I get a mission that requires a ninja to head towards Takigakure, I'll be sending your team. They are already familiar with one of the residents." Sarutobi replied with a wink. "Also, I asked Heishi Hyuga to keep tabs on the people going in and out of tower. And making note of those who had suspicions of me being an imposter, and who didn't. Check with him for the results. No one openly admitted that I was making a scene, and Kurenai didn't even tense when she saw me," Naruto said. "I will do just that. Remember, you still have 2 days off. Make the best of it," Sarutobi said. "You are dismissed." "Thank you." Naruto then departed through the window, disappearing before he could reach the ground. Waterfall 13. Naruto was attempting to ascend the waterfall and had just succeeded with 2 shadow clones when the original tensed but remained focused and climbed the entire way. Although he didn't make it all the way, Sasuke was also present. Naruto was sitting at the base of a tree with Hinata beside him, so he didn't have to worry about much after all of his shadow clones dispersed. "What's up?" "The Yuki clone I made to sub for Gigi just dispelled. All I can say is, I pity him with the paperwork he has to do daily. Sure, I can do so easily, but when you've got shadow clones, and a near limitless supply of chakra, you kind of have an advantage with the near endless paperwork," Naruto said. Hinata merely chuckled. Then Sasuke pulled himself in the direction of Hinata and Naruto. He simply nodded before fainting. "Damn, Sasuke. Chakra exhaustion?" he asked. Naruto rested his head on Hinata's head, and she rested hers on his shoulder. Both of them fainted. The dream of Sasuke discovered himself in a region of pure white. No sky, no ground. Just white, white, white. Where am I? The Dragon Clan Summoner. The Tri-Element Blast's 3 elements are within you. Who are you? And what do you mean? Please don't ask me any questions because I won't respond. Locate the Prophecy Blade. If you can use it, it will speak of your prophecy. It's nothing to fear. You will recognize it if you see it. Anamikaze was the last to possess it. Locate it and use it if it permits. It can only be used by the person who possesses the 3 elements. Sasuke remarked, "Namikaze. Naruto should know what it is. Watch out for the taint that hatred can bring. It never produces anything positive. Goodbye, Summoner." At that moment, Sasuke had one of his typical dreams. Same location, several hours later. Jiraiya and Kakashi were seated in front of Sasuke, Naruto, and Hinata when they woke up. It was Sasuke who spoke first. "Where were you two?" "Meeting," said Jiraiya. Kakashi said, "Can't say." Before turning to face Jiraiya, Naruto added, "I think I know where you were, Kakashi." "Sensei. You mind releasing the seal now? I finished the waterfall climbing exercise before I passed out." Then Jiraiya stood up and approached him. Jiraiya released the 5-pronged seal, and Naruto summoned the Reaper Death Seal. Naruto then gave a nod of gratitude. Jiraiya pointed to the waterfall and said, "Try it out, and see how easy it is for you." Naruto approached it with ease, as if it were easy. He tried to sit down on it after saying, "This is easy." He was surprised that he had not fallen yet. After enjoying the sensation of the water hammering his back, he got back up and leapt off to meet them. "Sweet. Looks like it worked the way we hoped." "It worked better than you think, Naruto. It appears that we can speak once more." That's what happened after the seal was released. That's a useful way to use the 5-pronged seal. Disrupting the connection between the Bijuu and the host. It's dangerous for a Jinchuriki, for the simple fact that disrupting the connection means shooting their control all to hell. Hinata added, "Looks like the connection is back up." Naruto gave Hinata a look. "Yeah, it still works. That's a relief." Jiraiya, Kakashi, and Sasuke all nodded. They were used to it by now. "Well, now that we're done here, I think we can leave training and do a C rank once our time off is finally over," Kakashi said. "Remember, tomorrow is our last day off. Try and relax tomorrow." They all nodded, but before Naruto could get away, Sasuke took hold of his arm. "There's something I think you could figure out for me, and I doubt I could find it on my own." Naruto gave him a startled look. "You seem to be relying on me a lot lately." "Considering the fact that what I need found was last in the hands of a Namikaze, and you're the last one, I figured you'd at least know of it," Sasuke said. Naruto asked, curious about what was happening, "What do you mean?" Before describing its contents, Sasuke acknowledged, "While I was out of, some weird voice was telling me a few things. I know it wasn't a dream, because I don't dream crazy shit like that. After that, it became a somewhat normal dream for me. I know that you've been going through your father's stuff, but I was wondering if you had already seen it." Naruto's eyes widened in realization after briefly narrowing. Could it be? That little stone that resembles a sword? It very well could be. Get it, and see if it works. They both nodded, and Naruto departed in his fire shunshin. Sasuke, wait here for a moment. Hinata, talk to your father about the events regarding the Hokage today. If he asks why, say it was a request from me, and I wanted a professional opinion. He should understand then. Hinata and Sasuke blinked several times, but Hinata was the first to shrug it off. She ran off, saying, "I'm heading out. See you later, Sasuke." 2 minutes later, Naruto returned holding an odd rock. "I'm not entirely sure, but I believe this is what you're searching for." He demonstrated how the rock did indeed resemble a tiny sword. Despite being entirely composed of rock and oddly blunt, the blade itself measured roughly 7 inches, plus an additional 6 inches for the handle and hilt. The blade itself had odd carvings on it. Sasuke gazed at it in silence. "This feels like," he said, slowly reaching for it while Naruto watched. There was a flash as soon as he touched the handle, and Sasuke was in front of a big sword. Nor am I referring to 6 feet long, large. I'm talking about 8 stories high, plus another 10 or so feet below the surface. Despite its size, the blade in front of him exuded strength. Despite having never used his Sharingan before, Sasuke discovered that he was unconsciously using it. Despite being a golden yellow, the blade appeared to shoot a few tiny lightning bolts. The distance between the blade and handle was roughly 10 feet. A.N. I refer to this section as the hilt. It appeared to have a few spots covered in ice, some lightning bolts etched into the design, and streaks of fire. Another 10 feet was the handle itself. Before a smaller version of the sword in front of him materialized, Sasuke heard a voice. He nodded after noticing and glancing up at the larger sword. He took hold of the hilt and began to pull. He had it held above his hand in a matter of seconds after it began to slowly emerge. Before him, the giant sword began to disintegrate. Sasuke Uchiha, called forth dragons, holder of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in a purified form. Correct your clan's wrongs as they should be and resist the urge to give in to evil. You now possess our power. You are free to use the power of fire, ice, and lightning however you see fit. After responding, Sasuke saw something. I understand. I still stand by my decision to help Naruto whenever and wherever I can. Anyone who doesn't like it can kiss my Uchiha ass. Wait, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan? Yes. There is one significant distinction between the Eternal Mangekyo and the Mangekyo Sharingan. Overuse does not cause blindness. You don't have enough reserves to use any Mangekyo jutsu more than once, but you can use them more if you give it time. One final item. The Bijuu will not be impacted by your Sharingan in the same way that Madara's will. His spells on the Bijuu can only be broken by you. You'll know what you can do with it later if you know when to use it. I understand. For the time being, the Mangekyo Sharingan and above is off limits. I will wait until it is needed. Before I go any further, I thank you for this. Uchiha, you're welcome. As long as you keep your word and assist the Kyuubi, you won't be impacted by the curse. I have no intentions on going back on that. Madara must pay. How he pays, even if I am not allowed to come up with it, I want to see it be done. I don't even have to do it myself. As long as I know he gets his just due, I won't have any complaints. Be aware that he possesses the eternal Mangekyo in its cursed form. The curse will be lifted when he passes away. Sasuke said, thank you for the heads up and the advice, and the sword? It belongs to you. It used to come with armor, but that armor is long gone. Direct your chakra toward it. It will then carry out its duties. You are the only one who can unlock its potential. It can only be used in its authentic form by you. Naruto continued to hold onto the rock sword as Sasuke, who was glowing, continued to hold onto it. Then Sasuke saw what had occurred. His gaze was fixed on Naruto's. Naruto, it seems this is it. And I know what it's supposed to do now. Naruto inquired, what it's supposed to do? It's supposed to be a weapon for the wielder of fire, ice, and lightning. Only he can use it. Apparently, even though I never managed ice before, the sword believes I have it. Sasuke informed him. Naruto dropped it and let Sasuke take care of it. Sasuke simply directed chakra toward it, encircling it in flames. When he first touched the rock, it transformed into the sword he had drawn from the earth. He saw that he had halted the flow of chakra, and it remained that way. Yeah, this is the one. The blade of prophecy. No, the sword of the berserker dragons. The blade transformed back into a tiny stone when he directed a bit more chakra at it. It was the same as before. Send it to the blade, it changes form. It doesn't need a constant flow of chakra to stay active. Naruto answered, just like my transformation. Sasuke nodded in agreement, saying, use it once, and I don't have to keep using chakra to keep it up. It's like shape, shifting. Sasuke said, that'd be about right. Before he knew it belonged to Naruto, he was going to pocket it. But Naruto was ahead of him. Keep it. Sasuke was a little perplexed by this. I can't use it myself, but you can. That reason alone is good enough for you to have it. Just don't lose it. He placed it in his tool pouch and said, I don't plan on it, thanks. I hope that's the last you need to ask of me for a while. I have to spend some time with my fiancé, you know? Replied Naruto. Yeah, I know. I wasn't really hoping to ask for anything for a few months, but you know how things go, when you want something. Naruto concluded for him by saying, the opposite tends to happen. Make sure you learn to use it properly. No weapon is powerful if the wielder cannot use it properly. Sasuke said, ain't that the truth? Oh yeah. When I learned of the sword, my Sharingan activated, and went straight to the 3rd level. I was told it was a purified version, but I'm not all too sure. In any case, I have no intentions of using anything from the 2nd level or above for a while. Reserves, and safety precaution. The usual. Naruto gave a nod. Naruto then used the fire Shunshin to depart, saying, if you don't mind, I'm going to see Hinata. Later, Sasuke. Before departing, Sasuke pondered, I wonder how much my mother knows about the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. 2 days later, in the mission room was Team 7. It contained both Sarutobi and Iruka. So, Kakashi. I have yet to find one for your team. The C ranks that have come in all rely on stealth and information gathering. This is not your team's specialty, and as such. Iruka, pass me the B ranks. I believe there is something there that can help. Then Iruka almost yelled, Lord Hokage, are you serious? Completely. They will need the experience for what is coming. I am already aware of the situation at hand regarding this team. I'm almost tempted to get Jiraiya to return and train them himself for that same reason. Sarutobi responded in a surprise to Iruka. Then he picked up the mission rack. He glanced at a few and found one that would appear to be somewhat helpful. Before throwing it to Kakashi, Sarutobi said, this should do nicely. That is your next mission. Be aware that killing is involved. And if any of you freeze up, Kakashi, you are to get them out of there. Iruka was perplexed when Naruto said, I don't think that will be necessary, Lord Hokage. We will be just fine with the abilities we have, as there is more to what we can do than even you've seen. Especially when it comes to me and Hinata. With a sickly sweet smile, Hinata said, you may not realize it, but a Hyuga elder is dead because of me. No one insults Naruto like he did, and the others found that out really quickly. Iruka said, you really brought her out of her shell, Naruto. I'm impressed. But this begs the question. What do you mean about more than we've seen? Is it stuff you've been working on? Some of it, yeah. Kakashi. Sensei will be able to report them if he sees them in action, but remember that the majority of the ideas are not mine. Just the way it's used is my idea, and even then, I might not be the first to think of it. Naruto said. Anyway, I figure that some things will help out. What do we have to do, Kakashi, Sensei? It's a back-up request. Team 8 has requested it due to unexplainable circumstances. It says they will explain when we get there. Although, it seems that it would be helpful for a shaman of sorts to come along. Kakashi said as he read the scroll. As Naruto put it, no need for that, we got it covered. Kakashi said, South Gate, 1 hour. Don't be late. I have to pick something up. I'll head there directly after I get it. Naruto said, it better not be one of those books. No, I've basically given up reading Icha during missions, or training. I'd only do that on downtime now. This is serious. I would have waited, had it been a new Icha. Naruto gave a nod. It finally made sense to him. Sasuke and Hinata nodded as well. They all departed in a shunshin with the words, see you then. An hour later, at South Gate Team 7 was prepared. Before they made their way through the trees to a small port town, Kakashi said, okay team, let's move out. They were tree hopping, so it didn't take them long, but even for ninjas, it was quick. They arrived in half the time anticipated. On the edge of a dilapidated village, they discovered Team 8 sleeping at a campfire. The first person to notice them was Kiba. Looks like Naruto's here. That means Sasuke and Hinata are here as well. Kurenai questioned, they sent Team 7? I could have sworn they would have sent a higher ranking team. It was probably an attempt to conserve forces. All 4 of them are radiating a power my beetles do not recognize. This perplexed Kurenai. They were directly in front of Naruto, Sasuke, Hinata, and Kakashi when they landed. Kakashi said, we have been sent to help you out. Kakashi, I could have sworn I made it a B rank request. Well, none of the C ranks there were to specifications to our specialties, so you could say he upped it a rank for us. Kakashi replied. Alright, so what's the current situation? Sakura said, some kind of undead menace. I only caught a glimpse of it, but it looked to me like a giant humanoid chicken. Naruto was going to ask a question, but decided that someone else could answer it much more quickly. Any thoughts on this, Kyuubi? Yes, but I'd have to find out more about it. If it appears, I'll let you know. Just tell them that if it comes back, to let us handle it. Sakura, I may have an idea on it, but I'd have to see it myself. In any case, if it shows up again, let me know. I'll be taking care of it. Naruto stated to her. Why you? Because I'm the one with the best shot at taking it down, said Naruto. Sasuke questioned, you think it's a demon of some kind? Yeah. Naruto heard another sound. If there have been zombies attacking in the area, then the possibilities of what it is are narrowed down immensely. Come to think of it, there just so happens to be zombies here, said Kiba. Naruto essentially repeated the Kyuubi's statement when he said, that brings it down to 4. Anything else that's strange? There is the fact it seems like the zombies are being controlled. Naruto said, doesn't help much. 3 left, though. From there, the only differences are looks. However, now I'm not the only one that can handle it. Sasuke, did you bring it? Yeah, but I don't have much practice with it. Odds are likely this will get you some practical experience with it. It should help out against these guys. If not the leader, then the grunts. He stopped. I am somewhat familiar with zombies. Disconnect their heads from their bodies, the how is irrelevant, burn them, or get them with some kind of holy energy, and they're dead for good. Most effective are fire and holy, but beheading them still works for the majority of them. Each of them gave a nod. Sakura questioned, it won't work to beat them senseless, will it? Naruto gave her a look. What did you have in mind? Random pounding. No, that won't work. If you can manage to get the head off of its shoulders, and with your strength, it could work. Aside from that, nothing. Naruto clarified. They all shook their heads during the question. Any more questions? Alright then. My only guess is it will attack at night. That will only make them more powerful. But for what I intend to do, it won't help the thing. No questions on that. Kurenai gave this a nod. We have about 2 hours until sundown. The village they've been around is not that far away. We've been using this area as a camp for resting. It seems like there's no end to them. They always start off the night with the same amount as before. It's their leader's doing. I have to take care of him, though. Fire is off the list of kill shots for it. However, something else is put on the list that makes me perfect to take the thing out. Kurenai's eyes widened. You mean? Naruto responded, perplexing the Team 8 Jenin. Yes, Kurenai. Sensei. He's already agreed to help out. We've also got a plethora of moves to use against it. The others were already aware. Once the sun had set, they quietly walked to the village. Naruto then called forth his Omega Buster after tallying the numbers. It's time to introduce the Omega Buster. Kakashi became aware of it. Thus, the Yondaime's first weapon. What is it capable of? Then, Naruto's eyes changed from blue to red, revealing slits. Sasuke and Shino had an idea, but Kurenai, Kakashi, and Hinata understood what this meant. Although a little perplexed, the others remained silent. The zombies stood up and began to move. You guys handle the zombies. I'm heading for the river. Sasuke questioned, why the river? Because that's where the flow of Yuki is coming from. That also means that's where the true target is. Kakashi gave nod. I'll leave it to you, Naruto. Thanks, but I wasn't asking for permission. I'm the only one that can kill the thing off for good. Not even a lightning blade can do anything to it. Kit, it's a low B class. Noted. I might have to wear a one-tail cloak. I'm hoping my body can endure it for some time. I'll let you know if I end up needing it. Just don't get cocky with this, and fire my Yuki through the Omega Buster, not your own chakra. Also, avoid any other weapons on the thing. It won't do you any good. Roger that. Then, as the rest of his team charged directly into the zombies and tore them to pieces, Naruto leapt up to the roofs and continued toward the river. Following Naruto's advice, Team 8 began to assist. Sakura's fist delivered numerous blows to the head, removing 2 or 3 heads in a single blow. She has been genuinely committed to her training, hasn't she? There was a huge splash as soon as Naruto arrived at the river's edge, and something emerged from the water right in front of him. You are idiots to fight against me, the creature yelled. They were fools because they didn't know they were dealing with a B-class demon here. The creature gave Naruto a curious look. During this time, Naruto picked up its form. More human than anything else was the upper portion of the torso, just above the waist. His head itself resembled a lion, and his fingers were claws. From the waist down, it resembled the back of a chicken, complete with feathers. With the exception of having 5 claws rather than 3, the feet were exactly like those of a chicken. He was also kept above the river by a pair of wings flapping behind him. I am not a B-class demon, but an A-class. You dare insult my skills, you worthless human? Sorry to break it to you, but in the eyes of a Bijuu, you are nothing but a B-class, if that, replied Naruto. There are no Bijuu in this area, and there has been none for years. Naruto said, that's where you're wrong. My eyes are normally a deep cerulean. Now that they are blood red, and resemble a fox, what does that tell you? The eyes of the demon grew wide. No, you lie, he yelled, brandishing a sword, which Naruto swiftly sidestepped. Oh no. This man is quick. Augment your speed like we practiced. I am aware of that. I was only able to avoid it because of that. You are a quick one. Much too quick for a human. Naruto pointed his arm at the object and fired, saying, I don't fall under the human category, nor do I fall under demon or Hanyu. Yet I can use the powers of all of them. The demon was taken aback by this and lost a wing, tumbling to the ground. The hell? When Naruto ran to him, the still attached wing threw some feathers in his direction. The others continued to battle the zombies. I thought he said there would not be that much harm if we got rid of their heads, Kiba yelled. Sasuke yelled back, try destroying them completely, just before roughly half of them went limp. Kurenai and Kakashi both glanced in Naruto's direction and thought the same thing. He is employing the chakra of the Kyuubi. He knocked out some of the zombies when he did that. Nearly 50% of them. Then Kakashi came up with another idea. Sasuke, head towards Naruto's position and find out what he just did with the chakra. After saying, right, Sasuke departed, transforming the rock blade from his pouch into the sword of the berserker dragons. When he touched down beside Naruto, he saw that the creature had just one wing. What did you just do to him? I just shot off a wing. I take it something happened? Half of the zombies fell down right after a small burst of Kyuubi's Yuki appeared. That means, Sasuke, tell the others to hold the zombies off, while I get the other wing. When the rest of them fall down, converge on my position, and ready yourselves for the final assault on the chicken. Got it. Sasuke returned to Kakashi and told him, causing a wide-eyed reaction. Hinata and Team 8 both nodded, saying, "Everyone, stop the kill shots, just hold them back, they'll fall on their own soon enough." With a katana in hand, Naruto was now rushing in the direction of the demon chicken. Now aware of the danger he posed, the chicken avoided it. This is not good. Yuki is really useful to him. There is nothing I can do. It's time to step it up. Before wrapping itself in a Yuki cloak, the chicken said, "Consider yourself lucky that you're forcing me to fight seriously. No human has ever done that. That is going to be trouble. I see that. Take off the cloak. You're going to fight this battle." Kakashi is not going to like that idea. Tell him I said it was my idea in the first place if he asks. I can't put up with him like that. Naruto then switched places in the consciousness and said, "Okay, but keep in mind, it was your idea." The eyes had the same appearance when they opened, but they felt different. Hinata stiffened on the opposite side of town. "No, he's defeated. Kakashi. Sensei, no matter what happens, do not go towards Naruto's position." When Sasuke decapitated another zombie, he asked, "What? Why not?" Kakashi's eye widened as Hinata responded, "He's gone for the reverse body swap. His fight is no longer his." Kurenai was somewhat perplexed. "Hinata, what the hell are you talking about?" Naruto's found himself outmatched, so he performed a tagged-out situation. "You should know, full well, who he tagged out with," replied Hinata. "Do not go over there, for your own safety." Kurenai's gaze expanded. "Kakashi, don't look at me, I didn't teach him how to do that. At least I was warned about this." "Hinata, bring out a kitsune, and have them help him out," Kakashi said. She leapt back, saying, "I don't know how much good it will do, but alright." Summoning jutsu. Suddenly, a horse-sized, three-tailed kitsune appeared. "What's up?" Lord Kyuubi and his host have switched positions and is currently taking on some other demon. "We can't interfere without losses, so we need someone to either watch over them, or help them out." "Sorry, I'd only hold him back, I'd be better off watching over them." Hinata yelled, "That's good enough. Just make sure he survives," before launching an assault on another zombie. Before arriving at Naruto's location, the kitsune leapt over to a building and began running along the walls. Kyuubi glanced at the kitsune that was coming. "Take care of the wing." "Roger, Lord Kyuubi." It was too late for the chicken to turn around. A tail swipe severed his wing. "You're getting on my nerves, boy. You're no longer dealing with a human in a human's body. Now you're dealing with a kitsune, and a Bijuu in a human's body. Outnumbered, outmatched, and shit out of luck." The chicken didn't show it, but he was genuinely afraid. "You think you've won this?" Kyuubi used one tail and a fox cloak to encircle Naruto's body. Kyuubi fired a blast of Yuki, but it narrowly missed. "You're out of your league. You're up against a Sanbi-level kitsune and a Kyuubi-level demon in a human's body." From a tail, the other kitsune threw a fireball. Foxfire. It was a straight hit. "Charge shot. Fire!" cried the chicken. "Combo." "Right!" exclaimed the kitsune. "Phoenix Fox Flare. Fox Inferno." The chicken was roasted as a result of the two attacks. The kitsune and Kyuubi approached the charred chicken. Kyuubi said, "What do you know?" He turned into fried chicken. "I don't know. Looks more like a turkey to me." Before taking off the cloak, Kyuubi said, "Thanks for the help. I only get so much rain in his body." "I understand your situation, Lord Kyuubi. Why didn't your host summon one of us? Or a phoenix for that matter?" "Because he can't rely on you guys all the time. There are other reasons, such as keeping his abilities a secret. That is what he's supposed to be doing as a ninja," Kyuubi responded. That's when Team 8 and the rest of Team 7 showed up. Kakashi gave Kyuubi a look. He was holding a ninjutsu when he asked, "Alright, what did you do to Naruto?" "Kakashi, before you say anything on why I'm doing this, it was his idea. It's better for this to happen, than to bring out one of the bigger guns. They would have destroyed the entire area. I hope you know that." Hinata answered, "In case you forgot, he wasn't there at the meeting. I already knew that you both switched out, and figured that he found he was outclassed. Trust the fiancé to find out what happened before she even gets the memo from the source," Kyuubi said. "We've got about 30 seconds until the tag.out is reversed. If the Hokage needs to know anything about what happened, just say that things got out of hand, and Naruto was forced to use my chakra to fight, which is kind of true." Hinata questioned, "But it wasn't enough, was it? That's why he did the tag.out in the first place." "Correct again, Hinata. You're learning how we both think highly quickly." Hinata smiled and said, "I try." The eyes returned to their typical deep cerulean hue as Kyuubi blinked. Naruto, you really shouldn't do that. You scared Kurenai Sensei half to death with the tag. Out. Then Naruto collapsed to his knee. Hinata caught him as he passed out, saying, "No. Choice. Must. Rest." She glanced at Kakashi and Sasuke. "Get rid of the bodies of all zombies. Fire jutsu to burn them or earth jutsu to send them 10 feet under." She turned to Team 8. "Sakura, have you been studying anything under the medical jutsu area?" Sakura answered, "Yeah, and I can tell he's only exhausted. What did he do to put him in this state?" The tag. Out is a dangerous move for him. When he does so, he no longer has control over his own body. That's not the problem, though. If the one in control of the body does more than the body itself can handle, it will tire out quickly. If the body can't go on, the tag. Out is force cancelled, and the body will pass out, and maybe get a few aches. He'd be fine after a good rest, but that's all that's really needed, Hinata clarified. Then why use it? I mean, if it does that, then shouldn't it be labeled as forbidden? Replied Kurenai. Hinata said, it would be, if it were known by ninja. It's something he came up with on his own. As such, only he can do so and still stay sane afterwards. The tag. Out is a Jinchuriki specific move. I wouldn't be able to use it myself. I only know of it, so I can warn others to stay back. She grabbed Naruto and placed him on her backside. Let's head back to the camp, and head back to the village after we're done. To recuperate, they returned to the campsite. Later, when Kakashi and Sasuke returned, they were sleeping. Kurenai kept watch and informed them of the situation. Both of them took a seat and dozed off. 7 hours later, the sun arose, and Naruto immediately awoke. At that moment, he discovered that Sasuke was the only one awake. How long was I out? Almost 8 hours. I got here 7 hours ago, after Kakashi Sensei and I took care of the bodies. Naruto inquired, and the fried chicken? Sasuke said, toasted. In fact, we have some still here. Before Sasuke threw him the leg, Naruto said, I always wondered what demonic chicken tastes like fried. He bit off a piece of it. He completed it swiftly, saying, a lot better than I expected, apparently. Thanks, Sasuke. Thank Kyuubi. He's the one that toasted him. Evenly cooked, I might add. Noted. The other people woke up quickly as well. The first to wake up, however, was Hinata, who actually cuddled with Naruto. When they were all prepared, Naruto closed his eyes and attempted to sense the presence of other people nearby. He gave the order to go back after discovering nothing but tiny animals. Sakura and Sasuke chatted a lot as they walked side by side. Kiba attempted to make advances, but Hinata flatly ignored them. Naruto, Hinata, and Kiba also conversed. He stepped directly in front of her when they were 4 hours away from the south gate. Why? Kiba inquired. Why what? Inquired Hinata. You're no longer in that old shyness shell of yours, so why won't you go out with me? Kiba said, irritated above all. Hinata pretended not to understand and said, oh, so that's what you were trying to do? Sorry Kiba, but you snooze, you lose. I'm already engaged. Not taking anyone else, you know. There's no need to. You're what? Completely irritated, Naruto said, she's engaged, Kiba. Didn't you hear her the first time? I know you've been trying to ask her out. Very subtle by the way, but you're already too late. A month too late. No official marriage, but it was arranged before we were even born. We didn't find out about it until a month ago, as her father hadn't spoken of it until then, or since. It's now at my estate, which once belonged to my parents, both of which are dead. I'm the heir to 2 clans, and I'm the last known for both, though I bear my mother's surname only. Completely bewildered, Kiba questioned, why not take your father's last name? Isn't that how it's supposed to be? And how the hell do you become the heir to 2 clans from being an orphan all your life? I've always been the heir, but I didn't know about either clan, or my heritage until a little over a month before graduation. Naruto informed him. Since then, my goals have changed. Hokage is not the main priority any longer. It's still high up there, but I have another goal up there, should I not make it there? If I have to resign from the Konoha Shinobi forces, then I will, and then I'll be doing something else, out of the village. And I'd never come back. If exiled, I'd follow the back, up. Sakura questioned, why would you be exiled? To her and Kiba's surprise, Hinata said, you didn't follow him around the village every other day during the academy, Sakura. You haven't seen the hell he's been put through for something he couldn't control, due to circumstances within 3 hours of his birth. And you never will now about it. You'll never feel the pain he's had to go through. The pure hatred of every civilian, and at least 40% of the shinobi force which was directed at him. Kiba said, "Well, he was a prankster. This went far before he even entered the academy. That's what I saw during the first year he was in our class. He even told me that it was going on when he was 3. Hinata vomited like it was waste. Maybe even beforehand. I know why he was hated, and I don't hate him for that. In fact, it made my respect for him grow 20-fold. His parents? I couldn't care less who they are." Kurenai said, "Probably because they're below you. Didn't I tell you not to get that sense of superiority?" "This isn't a superiority complex, Kurenai. Sensei." Hinata informed her. "In fact, I know they're a lot better than the Hyuga clan. Especially me. It's not the parents that make the child. It's the child that makes the parents. He's been doing his parents proud already, as that's one of his goals now." "Kurenai, are you aware of Kakashi Sensei's Junin sensei?" Naruto inquired. "Why? Yes or no, only bits and pieces. I would figure it was the Yondaime." Kakashi said languidly, "That would correct, Kurenai. You ever wonder why Naruto and my sensei look so much alike?" Kurenai came to a halt and turned to face Naruto. Although she was considering every option, they all pointed to the same conclusion. "No. You couldn't be. He never married." She was informed by Naruto, "Oh, they were married. And I believe you also know who my mother is, since she's the only Uzumaki to stay in Konohagakure for 2 years before my birth. They were both my parents." Kurenai was going to pass out. She clutched her head, saying, "Please, no more talking. This is too much information for me to handle." "Sure, why not?" said Naruto. As promised by Naruto, they were getting closer to the gates. "Oh look, we're here." Kakashi said, "Team 8 and Team 7 returning from our mission." Kurenai and Kakashi nodded and said, "Okay, you know the drill, I guess." The report was brought to the Hokage's office by both teams, including Jenin. "Lord Hokage, we have a bit of somewhat disturbing news on the situation down there," Kakashi said. "Yes. What is it, Kakashi?" Naruto stepped forward after Kakashi said, "I think it would be better if Naruto explained it." Before describing his encounter with the demon chicken, as they called him, Naruto said, "Lord Hokage, it wasn't the living that needed to be taken care of. They were undead. What's more is, they were headed by a B-class demon that claimed to be A-class. I kind of told the others to leave the demon to me." He omitted the tag.out portion. He casually added, "Did you know they make great fried chicken?" "No, I did not. Now, can you continue?" "Actually, that was the last of it. We stayed back to rest up, and then we came back. Nothing else happened on the mission," said Naruto. As Sarutobi put it, "You are hiding something, Naruto." Hinata blushed slightly, but Naruto nodded and said, "The only reason I haven't said anything on that, is because it isn't relevant to the mission." But no one took notice. Naruto nodded, and the others departed. "Very well, you are all dismissed. Naruto, I would like to talk to you further before you leave." "Alright, I know you left something out, and now I want to know what it is." "Actually, I left 2 things out. One I left out due to some that aren't aware of my tenant being present. The other was personal. The personal one was irrelevant to the mission, while the other one was." After he activated the privacy seal, he said, "Leave the personal one alone. What is the other one?" "There is something Kyuubi and I came up with. It's called the tag.out. Basically, I allow him to perform a partial possession with my body. The only noticeable change is in the voice, which becomes his, and the eyes, which also become the same as his. The is not to say the body is altered. Quite the opposite. No other physical changes are made. However, the jutsu repertoire is not only expanded, but so is the power of the jutsu. However, there is a massive drawback." "Drawback?" said Sarutobi. "Since there are no real physical changes, the body can only handle so much before it breaks down. In another sense, it allows the Kyuubi to have full reign with my body, but whatever it does, though it may not affect him normally, if the body itself is not up to snuff with the actions, the results can be disastrous. The body is likely to pass out after the tag.out is complete. There is a time limit for it, as well. Mainly as a safety feature. The limit itself is 20 minutes. However, if I run out of chakra myself beforehand, it will automatically reverse it, and I will pass out. I'm not likely to wake for several hours afterwards." "Any other side effects that I should know of?" Sarutobi inquired. "There are a few, but they aren't permanent. My feelings are amplified when that happens. This doesn't just go for anger, hatred, and the like. This also applies to things such as love, lust, happiness, everything. There are two main requirements for it, and that's why I haven't mentioned it until now. Requirements. The first one is that one must have another being with their own soul within them. Therefore, a Jinchuriki is able to perform it. I would not suggest an unstable Jinchuriki to learn it, as it could backfire. Naruto clarified. And the second? The second is a somewhat good relationship with the other being, and a mutual agreement beforehand. This is not the case with many Jinchuriki, and that is why it has rarely showed itself. Never mind the fact that I'm the first Kyuubi Jinchuriki to know of it, Naruto said. And this would be a bad idea to use in a lost case against multiple opponents? Basically, if it's one-on-one, then it's a somewhat good idea, but only as a last resort. I wouldn't want to use it if it isn't necessary. That also leads to what happened while I was unconscious after that little event. That is the personal event that I left out. Both of us were watching from my mindscape, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. Now, I'm curious. Naruto blushed slightly and said, I'd rather not say. It's not really decent, and it seems that me doing that affected Hinata somehow. I'm not completely sure, but it hasn't happened before. My body was not completely aware of it, but both Kyuubi and myself are. Don't tell me that you. Naruto said, no, it didn't go that far. If it did, I could never forgive myself. Regardless of the fact I couldn't do a thing about it. Luckily she snapped out of it before it did, and she then passed out on top of me. Somehow, she managed to get my pants back in order while we were both out of it. I just hope she doesn't remember that event. As do I. Anything else I should know about this? Nothing as of now. And Danzo's trial? In 4 days. He is not aware of it, but the next council meeting, which you are to be a part of, taking the place of the Uzumaki clan seat, is at that same day, and that's when we shall bring it all to light. There should be a representative there, but I doubt there is anyone that you can trust for that. There was once an Uzumaki clan seat. Sarutobi said, yes, your mother was in that seat before you were born. The council will be furious, without a doubt. Well, they don't have much say on it. And given the fact that the Uzumaki clan had a seat on the council years ago, but was unable to be filled, it was probably forgotten about. Due to this, they will argue, but they can't say anything once that particular piece of info is brought up. However, we will have to bring up the matter of my mother, Naruto said. I am aware of that. Do you wish for your father's identity to be revealed, as well? Then they would place me under the CRA. However, I did some reading on the laws, and it clearly states that I can choose whether or not to allow it to take place. Due to this, I'm not going to go for it. The CRA may be placed upon my children, but only if their mother, myself, and they agree to it. It will have to be a consensus of the three, and it cannot be with someone they do not love genuinely. That's why myself and their mother will be involved in their decision. I will not allow arranged marriages without my children's consent. I see. And what led to this decision? I tend to have some kind of ability to know what a person truly feels in their heart. I don't know how it came to be, or if something else is involved. Whatever the case, I will not allow my children to marry if the person does not love them for them, and not their name, or whatever. I want no attempts for political grab. Also, make a note that my mother just so happened to be the heiress to Whirlpool Country, which was just north of Wave Country. That essentially means I'm royalty. Sarutobi questioned, will you be willing to abide by those same conditions? That is debatable. Hinata must first agree, and they must love me for me. If no others come before my 17th birthday, then there will be no others to come, and nothing else can happen. This is so there is no grab for political power. Should I choose this route, there is already one other in line for it, and it can strengthen ties between our village and Takigakure. Naruto nodded in agreement. The Jinchuriki that appeared at the summons meeting, correct? We should inform them if you do choose this route. It would be better if I went there in person first. I already have the chakra signature of her Bijuu, and therefore, can find her easily. If I can't, then Kyuubi can. Either way, I can find her. Until then her admittance into this is to be kept secret. She already has Hinata's approval, so you know, said Naruto. Sarutobi said, I understand the circumstances. Before leaving, Naruto said, then I will take my leave, Lord Hokage. After giving a sly smile, Sarutobi released the privacy seals. You're playing a risky game, but it's not the most risky one you've ever played, Naruto. As he returned to the paperwork, he thought, I am sure of that. The estate of Naruto and Hinata ended up at his table. Naruto, there's something you should know about what happened on the mission. Which part? When you were out of it. I don't know what came over me, or even possessed me to do that, but... She was frozen in place when she heard, I understand, Hinata. I was watching the entire thing from my mindscape. I'm glad you stopped before you went too far, but still. That was cutting it close, don't you think? After being jolted out of her daze, she was able to nod. Although, now I have some questions regarding that particular event. Try to answer as honestly as you can. She gave a nod. Well, you say you don't know what came over you. Did you want to do that before any of this, but held it back due to respect, or something? She nodded with hesitation. Did the feeling of wanting to do that increase after I did the tag out? Then Hinata froze once more. It did go up when that occurred, however, that implies. Hinata questioned, that's why I did that, isn't it? If it increased after that, then the longer you're around me while in that state, the harder it is for your will to hold it back. It also means that you were exposed to the emotion enhancement part of it. For example, if I was thinking like that, and wanted to do so, but held back due to respect for you, which is highly likely, then not only would I have a harder time not doing that, I might just jump you. I'm still not aware of the exact level of amplification for it, though. That's what troubles me. You mean to say that if we're both like that, and you perform the tag out, then we'd basically be screw each other so hard, and nothing will stop us, and if it happens in here, no one will know of it, said Naruto. Hinata decided to be a little brave at that point. Would you like to find out for sure? Please tell me you're not still under the effects of it, asked Naruto. Hinata answered, no, but it did get me a little bolder. Naruto informed her, I don't think that's a good idea. Not yet, at least. Then an idea came to mind. I wonder if Tsunade's back in the village. Though necessary, Hinata found the shift in topic to be a little discouraging. I don't know. Should we check it out? Naruto proposed, let's find out tomorrow. I'll be meditating in the garden outside the waterfall. You can take the usual bed. I don't think I can trust myself not to do that after what just happened. I figure it best to let it blow over, you know? She gave a nod of agreement. Also, there is to be a council meeting in a few days. I'll have to attend the meeting as the Uzumaki clan head. We're not an official clan yet. Considering the fact there's already a seat for the Uzumaki clan, I'm just filling it in. Hinata inquired, and if you can't make it, then I'd have a Yuki clone ready for it, and after the meeting it will leave, make another one, seal it, and dispel. That way I can be there and on a mission at the same time. The first time, though, I'd be going in person, as my mother's heritage is going to be revealed. It will allow me to take the spot. I believe I could make a copy of my birth certificate, and show it to the council. Then there is nothing they can do about it. But wouldn't they know of your father as well? I'm afraid so. No one will see me as me after that, though. It will also give them some grounds to place me under the CRA. Because of this, I'll bring the official laws regarding the CRA. You said Fu could join in should I go for it. Am I to assume this has yet to change? No, it's still in place. But don't you think we should go to her village in person first? Naruto said, I had the same thought. If something does happen, Gigi will want us on the team, as we already know a local ninja. That's good for us. We have an advantage in localization, said Hinata. North Gate. A figure was approaching the village gate. State your name and business. Naturally, my name is the village council of Konohagakure, 4 days after the zombie mission. Not one of the civilian councils was pleased. Why is this the case? The reason is that Naruto Uzumaki, a shinobi clan head, was seated in the room. He responds with something fairly obvious when they tell him to leave. I have no wish to be here myself. The only reason I am, is because I was asked to by the Hokage himself. So please be quiet about it. The head of the Hyuga clan entered at that moment. Heishi Hyuga took a seat at his typical location, which coincidentally was directly next to Naruto. Heishi sat down, and the Hokage entered immediately. Now that everyone is here, minus the elders, we can begin. One of the civilian councils yelled, Lord Hokage, that thing cannot be in here. Naruto informed him, I already told you that I wouldn't be here if I had the choice. If I were you, then I'd shut my mouth, before I said something to get myself executed. Shikaku Nara, the leader of the Nara clan, turned to face Naruto. Lord Hokage, I'm afraid that I'm stumped as to his presence as well. Would you care to enlighten us? That happens to be the first topic on the agenda. I have kept it secret for far too long. The heritage of one Naruto Uzumaki, Sarutobi said. The Hyuga clan is already in the know. A few subtle hints from both him and his fiancée are the only reason. They were never called by name, and as such, no one broke any laws, Heishi said. Inoichi questioned, what are you talking about, Heishi? Heishi answered, you're the mind reader. You figure it out. Inoichi said, I'm afraid that, for some reason, I can't. As I try, it just blocks me out. Naruto said, I think the new seal works, Lord Heishi. Heishi said, that it does, Naruto. I am extremely thankful for what you've done for our clan. I was only doing something that my fiancé had asked me to help out with. You already know that. Heishi gave a nod of agreement. With the exception of Tuchi Ichiraku, the civilian counselors were scowling at this. Naruto, is this what you've been doing these days? I am sorry, Tuchi, but no, this happened a little over a month ago. Engagement. Along with a seal of the old Uzumaki clan's origin. Also, note that I could easily kill off anyone with a caged bird seal myself, if I wanted to. Anyone with good enough knowledge of seals, and the proper knowledge of the seal itself, can activate it. It's the same with all seals. Both my parents knew this, and they just so happened to have the full specifics on the caged bird seal in their old cottage. Lord Hokage, if we can continue. Shuza Akamichi gave Naruto a look. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were related to the Yondaime himself. Immediately, the civilian council exclaimed that it was impossible. Then they were silenced by a powerful presence. They all turned to stare at Naruto as he said, and here I was trying to be nice to the ones that made my life hell. Shuza nodded and asked, Shuza Akamichi, correct? You are correct. I am related to him. I'm his son. They all gave him horrified looks. I have the documents to prove it, as well as a picture of him when he had just graduated from the academy. Lord Hokage, did you bring the picture from my graduation? Sarutobi pulled out a folder and passed a picture from it around, saying, that I did, Naruto. During this time, Naruto also gave him the picture. Compare the two pictures. We are both 12 in those pictures. If you notice, the only difference happens to be the whisker marks on my face, which happens to be a birthmark. Naruto said quietly. He took out a folder and threw it at the Hokage, who caught it. But I am not here to represent the Namikaze clan. I was asked to come so I can represent the old Uzumaki clan, of which my mother was a part. Lord Hokage, the birth certificate. Sarutobi glanced at Naruto and said, this happens to be the original copy of it. Where did you manage to find it? The estate I've been staying at. That's the exact same one my fiancé had looked at, said Naruto. As you can tell, the document happens to be old, and I made a copy in case someone decides to get rid of it. The hospital doesn't have records of me, except for when I was in there after I was born. None of my birth records are there, as they were placed in the estate long ago. Sarutobi said. Everyone was either disgusted, shocked, or just plain surprised when he handed out the birth certificate. These documents are completely real. Take a good look at it, and you will find just what you have done. The only exceptions were Heishi and Tuchi. Tuchi because he assumed that was who they were, and Heishi because he was told. Are you aware of the consequences of your actions regarding the heir to not one, but two nearly wiped out clans? Said Naruto. I have gone over every law passed since the creation of this village. I have each and every piece memorized. I am also aware of the Clan Restoration Act, which I would fall under. I will tell you right here and now, it will not happen without restrictions. According to Shibi Aburame, that is not possible. Naruto said, quite the opposite, actually. I said I have read up on any and all laws passed since the creation of this village. That means the CRA as well. During the Nidaime's reign, there was a small piece added to it. Lord Hokage, second page of the packet in the folder. I took the liberty of highlighting it. It clearly states that, if the male in question requests it, then they can provide circumstances for acceptance. I have the option to either take it or not, and if I do, then I can name my conditions for it if I wish. Before distributing it, Sarutobi said, he's right. It is there. Except for Heishi, the shinobi and civilian counselors were taken aback by how he obtained such knowledge. He was fully aware of what Naruto had been up to. Young Naruto, what will it take to get you in the CRA? Shikaku inquired. The way anyone else goes under it is not the way I would prefer it. That practically sells political power, which no one truly needs. As such, the first condition is the ones I marry will only marry me because of their own choice, not because they were coerced, forced, or asked to. Second, they must love me for me, and not what my parents had, or the name. There will be a total of 3 that will be able to determine this. As such, I would have the right to refuse someone that asks. He was glared at by the Haruno representative. You will not refuse my daughter. Unfortunately for Sakura, Ms. Haruno, she's already taken. I've been overseeing her relationship with someone else. As such, she is not on the list of candidates. At this point, there are only 2 possibilities, and they already have confirmation. One is not of this village, either. Said Naruto. Sakura Haruno is currently in a relationship with Sasuke Uchiha, and I have been watching over it at Sasuke's request. I have been aware of it from the beginning, as well. She has started becoming a true kunoichi, as he wanted. Any animosity toward Naruto vanished when he said, "Wait. That's why she's been coming home sweaty these days. How are you in the know of this?" The other civilian counselors were perplexed because it was merely curious. The only reason the relationship started was because of a bet while we were in the ninja academy. I won the bet, and it turned up more results than I had anticipated. The result was Sasuke giving her advice on how to score a date with him. I am not allowed to share that information, and she would not reveal it herself. She has not stopped improving herself since. As of 6 days ago, I have stopped watching over her, as I believe it to be unnecessary. I can only stated too that he would be somewhat interested in at our age, and one of them is taken already. Ino Yamanaka. I am sorry, Inoichi, does not meet the requirements Sasuke himself laid out. She is still classified as a fangirl in his eyes. Naruto clarified. I could go on, but I wouldn't want to bore you with the details. Everyone's attention was captured when Sarutobi said, "On to the next reason for this meeting. It appears as though we have a very big threat approaching in the future. I am not sure of the specifics myself. It is another reason Naruto Uzumaki has been asked to attend. I do not have the specifics myself, but I can bring someone who does. In fact, I have told you all that I know at the moment, Lord Hokage." Naruto said. I would need to bring in a summon for this. According to Sarutobi, nothing too big. Naruto demonstrated several hand signals. Summoning jutsu showed a tiny phoenix. The phoenix questioned, "Naruto, why did you summon me, and not Kon?" Unfortunately, Kon is a little too big for the purposes here, Kobe. The information we have received from the Tanuki is the reason I summoned at all. Naruto stated to him. I understand. Thankfully, everyone in the alliance is in the know about it. The dragon summoner should have the full details, though. Why don't you ask him? The phoenix looked around as Naruto said, "In case you didn't notice, he is not here at the moment." Point taken. With the smallest hint of surprise, Shibi questioned, "You can summon a phoenix? Would it be so much of a surprise if I told you the Phoenix clan has stuck with the Namikaze clan in their blood? It was signed 4 generations before me, and it passed down to my father, who told them about me. I had only learned of them right after I had graduated from the academy. There are a select few summoning contracts that function in that manner. The Phoenix, Dragon, and Kitsune happen to be 3 of them." "Kitsune contract?" inquired Shikaku. "Who would dare sign it?" Shibi remarked, "I think a better question is, where is it?" The Kitsune contract is unique, even among the heritage summons, as they are called. It is the only summoning contract that can be signed in a mindscape. In fact, that's where I signed it, along with 1 Hinata Hyuga. Kobe, if you would. Gladly. Kobe used that opportunity to describe Tsunade situation. We have received this information from the Jinchuriki in Tsunade. However, it is not Tsunade that is the original planner for this attack. The Mount Myoboku Toads have done a little research, and found something out about a new village to the northwest. Otogakure is the one to propose the attack, and we have found out the leader of the village. It just so happens to be a rogue ninja from this village. S-class rogue, Orochimaru of the Sannin. For this reason, we can expect something else to happen before he attacks. A member of the civilian counselors inquired, "Where did you acquire this information?" "There is a summoning alliance. Actually, there are 2, and they have recently allied with each other." Naruto said. One alliance dealt with the Toads, Slugs, and Monkey clans. Lord Hokage is a summoner of the Monkeys, Jiraiya of the Sannin is of the Toads, and Tsunade Senju is of the Slugs. There is the Phoenixian alliance, consisting of the Phoenix clan, which I summon from, the Dragon clan, which Sasuke Uchiha summons from, and the clans each Bijuu came from. This includes the Kitsune. Summoners of each clan, and the Jinchuriki of each Bijuu are currently in the know. Why would we side with Kitsune? They are. If you say evil or anything of the like, then I will summon one here and now, and they can tell you the difference between a Kitsune and a Yoko. The Kyuubi is the only Kitsune that has been on both sides of the spectrum. The night he attacked, he was in a Yoko state. Normally, he sticks to Kitsune, and that means nothing painful. Just practical jokes, pranks, and the like. No killing unless needed, Naruto replied. A Kitsune suddenly materialized in front of him. "Naruto, we have a bit of a problem." Naruto let out a sigh. "Kituno, I know that I happen to be the container of Lord Kyuubi, but that does not mean I am him." "No, this does not regard the clan itself, it regards the alliance." The populace was furious. "Kituno, why don't you explain to everyone else here the difference between a Kitsune and a Yoko?" It would be better for someone who knows the differences between the two, and not someone that happens to be ignorant of the matter, or doesn't know the full details. Kituno glanced around. His gaze lingered longer on Sarutobi and Heishi than the others. I highly doubt that anyone but Sarutobi would listen, much less believe me. The one with the pale eyes resembles Lady Hinata, though. Naruto informed him, that's because that's her father. Kituno explained the specifics of the Kitsune and their perception of Yoko, saying, that explains it. Alright. Listen up, and don't interrupt me. The Kitsune clan does not get along with the Yoko. And the only Kitsune that has ever acted like a Yoko, if only briefly, happens to be Lord Kyuubi, for a reason. It happens to be the fact that he became a Bijuu due to a taint from the Jubi when it was sealed. All Bijuu were once summons before they became Bijuu. Lord Kyuubi is no exception. Aside from him and the Hachibi, no other Bijuu was a boss of their summoning clans. In fact, the council was beginning to notice the differences, but Shikaku had some questions. Your name is Kituno, correct? Yes, it is. You have a question, I believe? He gave a nod. What caused you to work with the Toad clan that has been with our village, and yet a Kyuubi-level Kitsune attacked it? I am afraid that Lord Kyuubi was forced to revert to his Yoko state. We Kitsune are not completely in the know about it ourselves, but we are aware of how it can happen. If not for the fact we understand the circumstances involving Lord Kyuubi, then we would never even agree with it. There is also the matter of the alliance regarding the Toad and the Phoenix clans. It was an unspoken alliance due to the fact one Minato Namikaze has summoned from both clans. And before you say it's impossible, I should let you know that Naruto has 2 summons. As Naruto put it, 3 now, actually. Finally got the 3rd yesterday. Gamabunta was pleased I chose him over Katsuyu. Nodding, Kituno said, I'd imagine. Anyway, Kituno thought we should let you know. We've let the others in the alliance know, and they will be telling their summoners. At this point, Naruto was deep in thought. We'd need to send word to the Tanuki. Something is off about the case cage, and if Orochimaru is involved, then I'd go far enough to say he'd be willing to assassinate the case cage if he didn't agree. We need someone to check out the deserts of Wind Country for any semblance of a corpse. That's the Tanuki's territory, so it's obvious they should check it out. When they find it, they should let the Ichibi Jinchuriki know, and then the alliance. Maybe we can stop an unwanted war before it begins. Naruto turned to his companions. Am I right in believing this is the best action to take? Cut losses down to the minimal, and stop things before they can possibly get out of hand? Both the shinobi side and a number of the civilian counselors nodded. There were very few who disagreed. Sarutobi said, I see only 3 didn't agree with that. Kituno, this action is to be taken. Shikaku said, if I may, Lord Hokage. Go ahead. Shikaku questioned, Naruto, how would you figure that out? And where did you get the power to do that? It is because Lord Kyuubi. I'm sorry, Kituno, but that's where you're wrong. I'm sure all of you are aware of my pranking ways when I was younger, correct? Everyone agreed. No one wished to be struck by one of his tricks. To his own surprise, Sarutobi asked, are you aware of how hard it would be for Chunnin to plant a stink bomb in an Anbu headquarters and not get caught doing so? That was you, of course, said Naruto. What's more is, back then I had no knowledge of my tenant. There is no way I'd be able to ask for help in that event from him. There's also the fact I did this at 9 years old. It is my love for pranking that allows me to come up with that, along with the information on rogues. A great prankster is also a good trap maker. The best trap makers are also highly adept at strategies regarding defense and rerouting. Considering the events in my past, what would you say is vital for me to live this long, Shikaku? Traps. You mean to say you've been developing your strategies with pranking as a child? Replied Shikaku. That wasn't the original intention. It was just a way to gain some kind of acknowledgement at the time. About a month before I graduated from the academy, when I stumbled across my parents' hidden abode, I found out that my father was a bit of a prankster himself. Because he was a prankster, he noticed that you have to plan each step carefully, just like a trap master. The same thing applies to battle strategy. So basically, I use my experience in pranking to come up with battle strategies. That's also how I came up with this, replied Naruto. There was silence. They never even realized they had someone in their battle strategy who could be just as dangerous as a member of the Nara clan. Shikaku was impressed. Everything you just said not only makes sense, but is true. The amount of planning used in pranking is high. For someone like Naruto, in which no one wants to be on his pranking list, no one wants him to turn his entire supply of planning experience on their life. If he did, he'd be worse than a Nara in that regard. Inoichi said, I concur. Even the worst in the IT division are afraid of his pranks. Shibi went on, not to mention some of the Anbu. It takes a lot to make an Anbu scared. Yet they are afraid of being pranked by him. Shikaku concluded, and now you see why he's more dangerous than you'd think. Naruto, I haven't forgotten that little bet we had. Why don't we let Heishi Hyuga give the results of it? After all, it was him that I asked to oversee the results of it. Naruto replied with a wink. Yes. The only one that was even remotely suspicious was one Sakura Haruno. Even her sensei, Kurenai Yuhi, seemed unaware of it. Not even Anbu were aware, except for the three guarding him. Except for Heishi, who was wise enough not to wager on it, and Naruto, who was smirking to himself. Every shinobi clan head scowled. Alright then. Inoichi, Shikaku, Shuza, Shibi, and Sume. It looks like I win our little bet. Tucci was somewhat perplexed. What bet? A few days ago, Lord Hokage had to attend a meeting regarding his summoning clan. I was also present, however, it would appear as no one noticed he was gone. I believe that you all are wondering just what happened. The civilian council gave a nod. As I was supposed to attend the meeting as well, I proposed a plan to Lord Hokage. This way, no one would know he is gone, and the village is not without leadership. According to Councilwoman Haruno, what was the plan? I would use a shadow clone along with my own version of the transformation jutsu, which is more of a shape-shifting jutsu, to take his place in the office. However, I noticed a problem with the shadow clone that would immediately make that plan useless. So instead, I used a much more durable clone. My own version that Kyuubi and I came up with together. It has all the properties of the shadow clone, but can bleed and continue to fight. I can't make more than 5 of them at once. We call it the Yuki clone, as it has at least 1 tail worth of his chakra. I can make thousands of shadow clones with ease, but I can only make up to 5 of them. I still can't use them for physical training, but anything else is transferred back upon dispelling. So it was a Yuki clone combined with the transformation jutsu? Any shinobi would have seen it, Inoichi replied. If you noticed, I said my version of the transformation jutsu. I'm sure a few of you have seen my sexy jutsu. It has even knocked Lord Hokage unconscious. It was on the verge of being labeled forbidden. However, there was one piece of it that makes it even more dangerous. It's not a mere illusion. It's an all-out transformation. Meaning I become an actual 17-year-old female, inside and out. That means I can use it to turn into the Hokage himself, and no one will notice. That seems to be the case, Naruto clarified. The plan was viewed as dangerous by the other council members. For those of you who think this kind of plan was a ploy to take over, you're sadly mistaken. I'm the only one that knows the full specifics of the jutsu, as it was created in a jutsu of my creation. As such, I'm the only one that knows it. Even though Konohamaru, grandson of the Hokage, knows the sexy jutsu, and it's only because he kept pestering me about it, his is still the original transformation jutsu. I didn't tell him about the whole, real transformation part. Shibi inquired, you have any proof of that claim? You can ask Jiraiya of the Sannin, who was on the receiving end of the 2nd level of the sexy jutsu, called the harem jutsu. He's also a self-proclaimed super pervert, meaning he would know the difference between a real and a fake. Ask him for confirmation, if you wish. I have yet to unleash the 3rd level. There has been no need for it just yet, Naruto clarified. Sarutobi gave a nod. I can attest to that. It happened to him in my office. Speaking of which, you never truly explained the 3rd level. Sume yelled, those jutsu are demeaning for women. Naruto questioned, why do you think I don't use it that often? That's the exact reason. I created it for self-defense against the majority of the population. You know that at least 80% of the males in the village are perverts, though they'd never admit it. Another 18 or 19% of males are strictly closet perverts. There are only 9 that I can count that are not all-out perverts. They all agree that perverted actions are wrong, and if it happens they regret it. I happen to be one of them. I regret the actions I took to get it, but I don't regret making it as it is highly effective. It also helped me survive, and for that, I know it is useful. I consider them anti-pervert ninjutsu. There are only 3 right now, so you know. When they saw how well the application fit, everyone nodded. Of course, that doesn't mean it won't seem perverted. Even I see this. At least they weren't made to be a pervert. Without ever being hit by it, Shikaku said, it would seem to cause a knockout via nosebleed. More like perverted nosebleed. Bigger perverts. Blood loss. Said Naruto. I think a few had to go to a hospital after that. According to Sarutobi, yes, but only 3. For the last order of business, there is the little matter of his inheritance. What do you mean, Lord Hokage? There was one thing your father left outside of his estate. It was never put in there, as far as I know. It is his famed jutsu. He was immediately followed by Naruto. Everyone could see Naruto standing directly behind the Hokage with his arms folded, saying, "Completed it, and got rid of the signal." However, mine is pure speed. His is like a reverse summon to his kunai. You can see that I never used a kunai. I can still backtrace it, to use a seal he placed long ago. There is still one problem I've got to work out. That's the tunnel vision. It's more of a battle-ready version of the Shunshin. Then he raised his voice once more from his chair, but everyone was staring at the final position. The phrase, as you can see, faded. Everyone looked at him as he said, "It also leaves behind an afterimage, as a taijutsu master might call it. And now you know that I don't really need that one. However, my heritage, though announced in here, is not to be released out of these chambers until after I become Chunnin. At least now I can go for my father's ideas that were never truly finished without much worry. And by the way, I saved your asses from another rogue Uchiha." Everyone was interested in this. "What do you mean?" a civilian inquired. He sighed and said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but all your kiss-up attempts, and thoughts of a lot more Sharingan, along with Itachi killing off the clan would have made him go rogue if he didn't get strong enough to beat him. Now, Itachi isn't even on his list of targets. At least, not in the sense you'd think. It's no longer vengeance for Itachi. No, there is no longer any vengeance on Sasuke's mind. This has already been confirmed. If Itachi dies, Sasuke will do so, but only because that's what Itachi would want. What would you know?" With a hint of disdain in his voice, Naruto said, "The truth behind the massacre." Sarutobi tensed, if only to conceal the fact that he already knew Naruto was aware of it from the others. In that instant, Naruto established a private connection with Sarutobi. "Lord Hokage, I noticed that you tensed up when I said that. It was mentioned at the summoning meeting. Everyone that was there knows that I know. Heck, aside from Kakashi, everyone on my team knows. You know this. It was to keep up with appearances, Naruto. If not for that, I know that no one else would think much of it. The elders and myself are the only ones to know of the truth. As such, no one would think you'd be able to hear it." Naruto was cut off from the link when a random civilian yelled, "What truth could there be?" "The truth behind the massacre is not my story to tell. Either Sasuke himself must tell you, or the elders along with the Hokage. Sasuke Uchiha knows the truth, and now is trying to correct the mistake the Uchiha clan was about to make, along with every other mistake they made beforehand. He's taken it upon himself to rid the clan of its shames. And it all starts back during the reign of the Shodai Hokage. With Madara Uchiha. Or as the Phoenixian Alliance calls him, the bane of the Bijuu." The entire room gasped at this. Inoichi attempted to read Naruto's thoughts but was unsuccessful. "I can't tell if there is truth to your claim. Like Heishi, you can't read my mind. There are two reasons for me, but only one for him. I have several mental barriers, mainly because of Kyuubi. I need them up. Thing is, he hasn't tried tearing them down, but instead strengthened it. The other reason applies to both of us. Mind altering, or reading jutsu have no effect on those with the seal he has on him. I have that same seal, but for a different reason than mentioned, as does he." "Explain," said Shikaku. The seal itself was not originally a mind protection seal. It was an analysis blocking seal. It is similar to the caged bird seal, but without the risk. There is nothing that enslaves them, so Heishi is not under my control, nor am I under his. It will prevent anyone, friend or foe, from harnessing anything from the body, even the nutrient levels. Basically, anything from a bloodline, to something common, such as taijutsu form, cell structure, nothing will get out. Any analysis will prove useless, as any tampering with the corpse will result in immediate disposal. The mind protection is also a way to combat the cursed seal of heaven that Anko has. It cannot get rid of it, but it will prevent it from being placed on someone. None of the effects will take hold. With the possibility of Orochimaru coming back, I'm glad that Sasuke has one on him as well." "How so?" "Well, I've done a little research myself. The cursed seal of heaven messes with the mind, enticing the one it curses to use its power. As such, any of the other effects will not take hold, either. He'd pass out afterwards, but other than that, nothing bad will happen. The only exceptions to mind techniques happens to be if they, themselves, initiate a telepathic conversation, or if both have the seal itself. I have the seal, and its complete structure is under wraps. It's a permanent replacement for the caged bird seal. As for Sasuke, I think we should know what his goal before he left was. Perhaps that would help with reasoning. Sarutobi's gaze expanded. Wait a minute, the Sharingan. Bingo. If he wants every jutsu in the world, regardless of the fact he wouldn't be able to use Uzumaki. Specific jutsu, and yes there are some, he'd want something that would allow him to copy all of that jutsu. What better way than with a Sharingan? Replied Naruto. Everyone nodded when they realized what he was saying. Well, this kind of seal would help all of our citizens with a bloodline, a civilian replied. Naruto received several glares when he said, not going to happen. Sasuke only has it due to the fact he's on my team and has a bloodline. Hinata, also on my team, has it for more than that. She has for a few reasons. 1. Because she has Byakugan. 2. Because it would stop the caged bird seal from being placed. 3. Because she's my fiancé, and has been since before we were born. The Hyuga clan only has partial access to it. Anyone that gives out the details without the expressed permission from one with Uzumaki blood will not be able to say anything on it, or it could very well kill them. It may not be proven, but that's something the majority of Uzumaki specific seals do. The jutsu are another story, and this is unless the one being told is an Uzumaki by birth. Any alterations can be sensed. My only guess is someone looks after the Uzumaki and can tell when someone gives out their secrets. I cannot stress the importance of this enough, if you can't tell. Which is why I'm telling you this now, instead of when, not if, it happens. He let out a sigh and went on. Now for the final topic. Danzo Shimura is not here at this meeting for a reason. Everyone except Sarutobi was perplexed by this. He is correct. The other elders are also not here for the same reason. It appears as though Danzo Shimura has been working with several rogues on the outside, and even helped to overthrow another village's leader, of which we are not allies. The only reason I am in the know about this one is because I'm the one that brought the information to Lord Hokage's attention in the first place, and even got him the proof. I'm sure you're all aware of the mass of pranks hitting the housing of each council member, and then some. That was what I needed to get in, get the information, and get out. This was a request by Lord Hokage, and the fact that he told me the how is irrelevant, and he wouldn't know a thing, I had free reign. It was to cause enough chaos that the Anbu would be too busy trying to figure out how it was going on, and it would catch Danzo's attention, and he'd send some of his root Anbu to help out. Needless to say, it worked as planned. I was never spotted, and I managed to get in and out without being noticed. So it was you. Haishi almost yelled out. The only reason I said what I did is because no one was to know of it until it was brought to light. And also, as you probably figured out, I didn't really lie. I told you the truth, but at the same time, I didn't tell you if I did or not. You just assumed I didn't due to the way it was progressing, as all of it could very well be the truth. Naruto responded, causing everyone to stop talking. Haishi was cursing himself in silence. And you should know that the Uchiha that were killed by Itachi have had some of their Sharingan taken from the corpses and implanted into his right arm and eye. That is more than enough for high treason alone. Add in his dealings with Orochimaru, and another threat that has yet to rear its ugly head, but known to be out there, then we have enough for an execution. Homura and Kaharu are going for a trial, but all evidence points to Danzo being executed. The evidence we have on him is staggering at best. It is best that he is executed in secret. Anyone that helps him escape will be considered traitors, and will be executed on the spot. Is that clear? Sarutobi stated, his voice cold and dripping with venom. Everybody gave a nod. Also, I thank you for your help in this, Naruto. Had you not stumbled upon his hideout, I would never have the proof to pull this off. Only the suspicions which I could never act on. With a few surprised looks, Naruto answered, anything to help out. You know I don't really like the guy either. Besides, he doesn't even know of the curse on the Sharingan. What you didn't know? Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Those with a Sharingan are supposedly cursed because of a breach in a deal. It was at least 80 years ago that it happened. The one known as the Bane of the Bijuu is the one that breached the deal, and believe me when I say, when that happened, the Sharingan was cursed by the one who created it. Sasuke is only using a partially uncursed Sharingan. As long as he abides by one vow he made, his will remain uncursed until the Bane of the Bijuu is truly dead. Shikaku questioned, what exactly is this curse? By that, do you mean, where does it reside so one can get rid of it? If that's the case, then the only way to get rid of the curse itself is by retribution and penance to the one they wronged. If you're looking for a physical aspect, then there is none. For some reason, though, Itachi was not affected by it. Naruto clarified. Well, then what are the effects of this curse? A massive amount of hatred, high sense of superiority, almost to a fault, and a sick obsession with revenge. The curse itself was meant to wipe them out, and it seems that it worked. Just not the way it was planned. There are 3 living Uchiha right now, one of which, I couldn't tell you how he's alive. He should have been dead for 80 years at least, for after he got the Sharingan cursed, he attacked the Shodai Hokage after trying to control the Kyuubi at the Valley of the End. I think anyone worth their salt would know who he is. Madara, began Tuchi. Uchiha, concluded Shuza. Sume yelled, you mean he's alive? I'm afraid so. And what's more is, he's after a weapon. One more powerful than any Jinchuriki. However, that weapon is far too dangerous for anything. It has come to my attention that even the Kyuubi no Kitsune fears it. Naruto said, shocking everyone in the room. Kid, switch out. We will need to do something, and I'm going to have to explain it. Not taking place. At least not here. Then bring out a shadow clone, and let me switch with it. Hold on a second. The shadow clone, no transfer your consciousness into the Yuki clone as well. What are you? Wait, that might actually work. Others stood up and took a step back as Naruto said, okay, I'm about to try something out, and I think it could help us out in the explanation. Just don't go ballistic if it works. After making a hand gesture, Naruto charged a portion of the Kyuubi's chakra. Now, Yuki clone jutsu, Naruto was next to a puff of smoke. There wasn't a blue-eyed, blonde teen when the smoke cleared. Instead, what emerged was a man in his early 20s, sporting bright red hair, an orange t-shirt, and a body designed for speed rather than strength. He was wearing dark red pants with an ANBU style. The eyes had black slits and were blood red in color. He surveyed his surroundings, flexed his muscles, and grinned. Glad you figured out that plan, Naruto. This is by far the most insane plan you've come up with. You know how I think, and you also know that the more insane the plan, the better it works for me. Well, you do specialize in the bat. Shit insane and the impossible. Can't say I'm surprised when I think about it. Sarutobi asked, suddenly suspicious of the new male, Naruto, who is this? My apologies, Hiruzen Sarutobi. I should have introduced myself. However, if I did, everyone that held a grudge because of the event 13 years ago would either cower in fear, or go insane and start trying to attack me, instead of him. The man was addressing Naruto. I think that's more than enough for the smarter ones to figure out who I am. What do you think, Shikaku Nara? The eyes of the shinobi clan heads widened. A tiny smile appeared on Hiashi's face. Looks like you found a way to give him a body, no? Naruto said, it's only a temporary measure, Hiashi. I basically make a clone for him to use, and if it is supposed to dispel, then he'd go back to his true body, which is still in the seal. Thankfully, I can still dispel it from a distance, and he can't go too far from me. Everybody gave a nod. The civilian counselors were the primary target of this outburst, which included the following statements. All right, I have a few things to say. First off, where the hell do you think attacking a child? No demon in their right mind would do that. The only one to ever do that was the original Bijuu, and he's sealed in your fucking moon. They all gawked in horror or began coughing. I may not have wanted to attack this village in the first place, but after what you've done to this kid, you actually deserve it for your fucking stupidity. Kyuubi. At this point, all killing intent vanished in an instant. You're lucky he wants to protect this village. Personally, with what you idiots put him through, I can't say I'd do the same. You all would have been completely destroyed if you had done that to a mere C-class demon. What do you think would happen if you did that to a Bijuu, which is considered a high S-class regardless of species? The man, who is now referred to as Kyuubi, eventually, there wouldn't be a village left after 5 years. Of that, you can be certain. Everyone was taken aback by this, but not as much by what he said next. What also gets me is the strength of Naruto's will. I wouldn't be able to take over his mind, seal or not, if I wanted to. The only exception is if he lets me do so. No one, not even a deity, can move him when his will is involved. Of that, I can be certain. If fate had his way, Naruto wouldn't even be here. That's the way it is with all Uzumaki clan members. For them, impossible is but a word. But him? Impossible doesn't even begin to describe him. His whole existence, along with everything else in his life, is impossible for anyone. Human or demon. This includes the fact he has any sanity left. Everyone who wasn't used to severe shock, which includes the civilians except for Tuchi and Haruno, passed out as a result. Those who did not were taken aback that anyone, particularly a human, would receive such a high-quality compliment. And that's just the beginning. Because of everything, even I envy him. You call it a sin, A demon? Admitting it is a sin. I have no problems admitting it for him. I give credit where credit is due. Any Bijuu would agree with me when I say, Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze has a stronger will than any creature that has ever existed. It surprised Haruno that anyone, let alone a demon, would give Naruto praise. Kyuubi, we've already been through this. I don't need that kind of publicity. No, you need someone to acknowledge something about you. If there's one thing that you deserve to be acknowledged for, it's your willpower. You can create thousands of shadow clones with ease, and that deserves some merit, as even your Hokage can only make, at most, 60. Even then, he wouldn't be able to fight. Yet you could make 2,000 and take on an army for an hour, and keep still going. Yet the strength of your will deserves more merit than that, as any demon could do that, yet no demon, Bijuu or not, could ever have the strength of will you do. Inoichi said, I think we all want to know what your next point is. I think we know enough to see that you care about him more than anyone else in this village does. Except one. There is only one that I would prefer he be with instead of me, at least of those that stay in the village. She happens to be on his team. Even if Kakashi won't help train him, I would. He next observed the counselors who were unconscious. Kit, you want to wake them up? I think they'd need to be awake for the next bit. You going to yell at them again? Only if they show their stupidity. That made Naruto chuckle. Naruto demonstrated several hand signals. Sweden. Douse. Each of the unconscious counselors was covered by a tiny cloud, which rained down on them. They were both wet and awake. You finally got to test it out. Nice. Now, nobody criticized Naruto. The majority of the counselors were actually afraid of Kyuubi's current body. What is this next bit? It has to deal with Team 7, under Kakashi Hatake. They have already been training in ways no other Jenin team would. The fact of the matter is, they are in more danger than any other team, even when it comes to an Anbu team that has had their cover blown, with no backup, out of supplies, outnumbered 10,000 to 1, outgunned, and shit out of luck. Team 7 is in more danger, not because of me, but because of what's after the Jubi. The one thing any demon in their right mind fears. Madara, if what everything we have is true, would be after the Jubi, and ultimately, the destruction of the entire planet. Not even I could do that. He is rightfully feared. The only one to ever harness the Jubi's power was the one you know as the Rokudo Sennin. Heishi said, that's a big claim you make there. How do we know the truth of it? According to Sarutobi, oh, it's true. Madara is known as the bane of the Bijuu for a reason. However, the Bijuu were all different before the Rokudo Sennin sealed the Jubi in the moon. That is correct. At one point, I was just a kitsune. Then the Jubi came along, and after it was sealed, it left behind a taint. I was affected by it, and now I tend to have bouts of Yoko-like behavior. Something that I never liked. Kitsune and Yoko have highly differing views on actions. The night I attacked, I was forced into Yoko state and then forced to attack by Madara himself. I'm still not sure how the hell he survived all these years. However, he's back, and now he's after the Jubi. By proxy, he'd want the Bijuu for the taint. For this reason, I'd rather stay sealed inside of Naruto here. Sume almost yelled, mostly out of surprise, wait, you want to be sealed? It's because of the Uzumaki bloodline. I'm the third one to actually manifest the unique piece of it. Or rather, have the ability to awaken it. I haven't yet. You do realize that mentioning it alone would give grounds for the CRA, Sarutobi cautioned. And I stand by my conditions. Otherwise, the CRA will not affect me. Naruto stated to him, these conditions will also apply to any Uzumaki that is born from me. By the way, a bloodline like that of the Kori clan, which allowed use of the Hyouten element, would not manifest in my children, as that's part of the Uzumaki clan's bloodline. If my children have 2 or more elements, they can combine them naturally. That's the basic part of the bloodline. Thing is, there is one combination of 3 elements that, not only does it negate the basic piece, only allows those 3 elements and grants one element that has only been seen twice in Uzumaki history. That's the same combination I have. Heck, it's so rare, there is no record of a name in the entire history of the Uzumaki clan, as far as I know. I intend on naming the element for its properties, which I will not discuss, like the rest of my clan that already knows of it. Anyone outside of the Uzumaki clan that knows of it, knows to never talk about it, under penalty of death. This was a decree 150 years ago in the Uzumaki clan, on the deathbed of the last Uzumaki that had it. Kyuubi informed them. He wasn't able to master it before he died, but came close. For this element, mastery is not in how well you can use it, but the amount of jutsu you learn using it. along with how many normal fire jutsu you can use with it. The Grand Fireball Jutsu that the Uchiha use can be used with this element, but for one to use a C rank with an S rank level, that is hard. It is deadly to evil creatures, however, if a creature is not inherently of evil nature, a kitsune being a prime example, it will not do as much damage. If said creature is tainted, this element could very well get rid of said taint. I just said that I wasn't explaining it. That's the extent I'm going to go into it, as that would explain my other reason for wanting to stay sealed for now. Everyone was taken aback by this. One more slip up, and that's the last you're seeing for a while. Hey, they need to know that things are going to be different around here, you know that. He looked around him and said, that may be the case, but that doesn't mean, sorry about that. The Haruno answered, no worries. I guess I've gotten used to it. Anyway, what did he mean by, for now? We found a way to transfer his consciousness, without transferring any of his Yuki, or his original body. He would regain it eventually, and he'd still stick with me. We already have an agreement on that. We are bound by a soul oath, so if he goes against that, he'd die anyway. Said Naruto. There will be no worries about him. As long as I want to protect this village, so will he. He should have protected the village anyway, instead of attacking it, as he was, and still is, the guardian of the forests. This village is surrounded by forests, and therefore, in his territory, of course, he'd protect it. It makes the Kitsune clan happy with my freedom of a prison, Naruto happy because of not having to deal with me in his head, and also me happy, as I'd no longer be affected by the taint when the transfer does happen. At the same time, the villagers would still be safe, as I wouldn't have to worry about shifting into Yoko state. At least, that's the theory. If I am forced into Yoko state, Naruto can instantly revert me back to Kitsune state, as we have developed a sort of soul bond. He can snap me out of any genjutsu, as I can do to him as well. Not to mention it would be fatal for Madara's plans. If Kyuubi goes full size and I'm up against Madara, I'd be in hiding, not on the front lines, knocking him out of genjutsu that Madara would place. Naruto said. At this point, you kill him, you endanger the entire village with the Kitsune clan, the Phoenix clan, the Dragon clan, and quite a few others. You're already on bad terms with the Bakeneko clan, due to your attempts with Tora and her descendants. If Nibi comes, and I am not around, be prepared for hell to break loose. Literally. You kill me, and by proxy him, you've basically got the clans of every Bijuu, along with the Phoenix and Dragon clans. The Toads and Slugs may just help them. The monkey summons of the Sarutobi clan might help destroy the place as well. You never know. They all have an alliance, so, before you go and attack me again, you might want to reconsider your options, and the consequences of each one before you act. He makes a good point, one that I don't think you should take lightly. Honestly, I wouldn't mind either way with what he was put through. In him, you have either a powerful ally or a dangerous enemy. So make the smart decision and don't bother attacking him. You will regret it if you do. Kyuubi then glanced at Naruto. I'm not sticking around here. We'll talk about that other idea of yours later on. I've still got to figure out a few details on it. Trying to incorporate some of the features we both want will not be easy to handle, much less be able to add into any metal you'd normally find around here, you know? Kyuubi nodded and poof. Ed in agreement as Naruto responded, I'm aware. We'll consider the options on it again later. What idea is this? Inquired Shikaku. Unless we can work out the problems in it, we can't really do much with it. As such, no details will be revealed. However, I have been having shadow clones work in the forges of the village. This way I can use the experience to forge the items required for the idea. None of them are offensive weapons, and once made, I may release some of the details. Until then, details are strictly under wraps, as it might not come about. Replied Naruto. An additional counselor was on the verge of speaking. A.N. For those of you who are curious, this is the armor discussed in the question last chapter. That means don't ask, because nothing is certain about it as of yet. A.N. The voting is still ongoing as of this typing, and it is unlikely to be released until the Chunnin exams, if ever. Sarutobi gave a nod. Anything else regarding other things that would need to be brought up? Nobody replied. Then everything said here will not leave this room, or hinted at, under penalty of death. Naruto's heritage will only have one exception, and that is Naruto himself. This is his will, and that will last until he makes Chunnin rank. If it is about to get out, that one person, along with the one it was hinted at, will be killed on the spot. Is that clear? Everyone agreed, though some started to shiver under the icy gaze. Danzo's execution will be held in 2 days in private. He will meet with me then, and his execution will happen at that very moment, This council is dismissed. Everyone gave a nod, got up, and left. Naruto remained with Hyuga and the Haruno. Alright, from what I know, you were head over heels with my daughter. Why the sudden change? When I found out about the engagement between myself and one Hinata Hyuga, I gladly welcomed it. She didn't like the fact that people saw me as a monster, and honestly, I never noticed it until after I found my parents' old house. Including myself, only 4 can get there. Once I found out about it, any romantic interest I had for Sakura was gone. I'm not the dense idiot I was beforehand, that couldn't get a clue. I knew that she didn't like me, but I have to admit, it was fun playing the fool. I might add a few low C ranks to the mission roster for Jenin. He glanced toward the entrance. Gigi would love to see the results of some of them. Not to mention it's likely to be harder than Demon Cat Tora mission. Heishi questioned, oh come on. What could possibly be that hard? The Tora mission is the only D rank that's actually worth doing. I've only done it once, and honestly, I swear she was related to the Nibby somehow. Then again, what are the odds of that, am I right? If I add a few, you can be sure that some people will get a few laughs, others will not like what happens, and since it would be an official mission, people couldn't do a damn thing about. I'd be judging the missions myself, since it would fall under my specialty. Naruto said with a slight smirk. Pranks. Among other things. Let's see if they can go through with it. The dangers are not present, but it can be considered training, and you could fail these missions and not run a risk. You'd have to succeed in the mission itself in order to get paid. I'd be going over the main specs of each one as I come up with them. One in particular is pranking a restaurant, and getting away from whoever chases them, or just keeping themselves get captured for an hour, or some other predetermined time period. Oh, the fun I could put the Jenin through. What would you two think about this? You have both been council members longer than I have, and I don't claim to have experience in politics. Heishi said, I think some could actually get a laugh out of it. It may seem childish, but it seems as if it could help in ways no one would expect. Naruto tensed up and said, and that's the beauty of it. No one would notice the true meaning unless explained. Another round of winnings. Why am I not surprised? Haruno inquired. What do you mean? I send a few shadow clones to gamble in some of the nearby towns from time to time. It helps me keep my finances high up there, as I'm a natural at it. My team knows never to make a bet with me, as they will lose. Acknowledged Naruto. Not a good counselor act, but it helps finances. There's no arguing that. I only have to do so once every few weeks, and I have completely restored what was there when I found it, and then doubled it, as usual. Anyway, your opinion on the missions? I think it could help out a bit, but I fail to see just what it could help out with. Are you aware that Anbu are constantly patrolling the village? Or the fact that it is actually hard as hell to outrun Chunnin at 9 years old usually? Yet the only one to ever catch me was Iruka Amino. I swear, it's like he has a tracker on me, but it isn't tangible. I can outrun Anbu, but I could never outrun him. Haruno answered, yes, no, and what the hell? If the Anbu catch them then it is a failed mission. My team would not be eligible for these missions, as I could do any of them with ease. The goal is not pranking itself, but a safe situation for something similar in an actual mission. Search and destroy, for instance. They'd have to get away from pursuers and that would include Anbu-level ninja from time to time. As such, it would require stealth, speed, and above all else, planning for something that is somewhat unusual and not really predicted that often. It's better for Jenin to do something like that, and maybe you both can help out with that. Haruno's eyes widened in understanding. You mean? Yes, using the missions for pranking those that tick you off. You could easily get back at others like that, you know? No true harm done, and less violence needed. Naruto completed the task for him. Do you see the point in thinking this? According to Haruno, now I do. My god, you're far too smart for your own age. Being a prank. Master, along with being alone all your life, does that to you. Your mind forces itself to grow up. Something that, though I'm not thankful for, it helps out in the weirdest of situations. That is something good that came of it. Then Heishi saw something. I seem to recall you were a lot more serious looking and professional during the meeting than you are now. Why is this? What? You think I want to stay a boring stick in the mud? Replied Naruto. No, I did that because it required a professional outlook. Now that nothing professional is required, I can actually have some kind of lenience, and act casual. Something that seems lost to most. The others exchanged glances before shrugging. At that point, Kakashi shunned in. Naruto, we're having a team meeting, and Jiraiya is involved. Naruto received a nod when he said, damn. probably has to do with the summons, right? The sticks never end, I suppose. At least I'm getting used to it. They each went off in their own shunshin. Both Heishi and Haruno left with the same thought. They both smirked to themselves at the possibilities they thought of. I wonder how I can use that idea to my advantage. A few days later, D-rank missions had been enjoyable for a few teams. The anbu that followed was too swift for the few restaurants that were pranked. Junin were prohibited from taking part in the mission. Sayuki Haruno, a counselor, Heishi Hyuga, and a certain Naruto Uzumaki have been requesting missions, which has made Sarutobi laugh a little. Just 4 days after the council meeting, some of the Jenin were not only identifying defense gaps that needed to be filled, but they were also gradually increasing their speed and showing some tactical planning, even though they were blind to it. They were, to put it mildly, curious about them. People who were hit by these missions were the only ones who didn't enjoy them. Some of the counselors went to Heishi and Sayuki after word spread that the three had come up with the idea, but they claimed that Naruto had given them the idea to use the missions to identify weaknesses in the village's defenses. 4 days after the council meeting, Naruto was summoned to the Hokage's office on this day. He said, "You wanted to see me, Lord Hokage? I have heard that you have given 2 council members an idea for pranking several restaurants and the like. What was your original intention with that?" "Actually, I thought it would give our Jenin a safe environment as a simulation for tougher missions. You know the old search and destroy missions during wars? This is a much safer version for everyone, and if failed, there are no penalties. I simply told them to think of the possibilities, and they did. What they've been doing is their ideas, aside from the fact that we can strengthen, not only our Jenin, but our defenses. I know that Anbu are almost always patrolling the village, so why not use this to our advantage, and strengthen our Jenin by trying to outrun them?" Naruto clarified. "It may seem irresponsible, however, it depends on how you look at it. Part of being a ninja means looking underneath the underneath. If you realize this, you see the possibilities that reside in these missions." Sarutobi just gave a nod. "This is highly useful. I mean, it takes a Jenin to figure out that other Jenin need a good type of training, and a prankster to boot. Yet the training they come up with is literally a safe simulation of a real-time war situation, and a D rank at that. At the same time, we're finding out the holes in our own defenses, so we can improve on them. Very clever. I'll admit Kyuubi actually helped me with some of the planning, such as the Junin sensei not being allowed to participate." Naruto continued, "I just think it's good training for stealth, speed, and tactical warfare, though the latter to a lesser extent. It's as good for training as the Tora mission, but is nowhere near as dangerous. Play on the defenses with our own ninja. We have to get the defenses higher. We shouldn't be able to have Jenin get through our defenses, much less academy students. That's why I've been judging the missions I add to the roster. See if they can get away from the pursuers or at least keep from being captured for about an hour, sometimes 2, as that's usually the amount of time to reach a border after a search and destroy mission, unless I'm mistaken." As Sarutobi sighed, Naruto continued, "If they can keep away for the time limit, or completely lose them before reaching a certain spot beforehand, then they succeed in the mission. If not, and they are captured, then they fail. If it were a war situation, they would be interrogated, tortured, or worse. If you think about it, I'm preparing our Jenin for a future war that may or may not come to pass. And that's why you chose Jenin. That's some of the reasons. Another is that they are still young, and as such, can easily think up a few good pranks. Another reason for this is because it's better for our own ninja to get through our own defenses than enemy ninja. Am I correct?" A smile. "Then why not have some of our most likely ninja to handle it?" "That actually makes sense. But why bring in the Haruno and Hyuga counselors?" "Well, someone needs to put those kinds of requests if I'm out on long-term missions, am I right? I would have just asked Heishi, or maybe even Sume Inuzuka. We all know she'd get a kick out of it." "That she would. And you are preparing for something that won't happen for a while," Sarutobi said. Naruto said, "There's no guarantee there. Any mission C rank and above can turn out longer than before. Better safe than sorry, you know?" "I see. Then continue with the missions, as I got a good laugh out of the last one. Oh, and if the Chunnin exams are coming up, the moment word gets sent out about it the first time around, and other village ninjas start coming in, none of these missions will come up from me. I'd have to let the others in on this know that, since we can't have our enemy ninja knowing our village's defenses are weaker than they should be, you know?" Sarutobi said, "Noted." Naruto departed in a fire shunshin, saying, "Dismissed. At least he has good ideas, even though that kid is such a handful." Before going back to his paperwork, which had recently become quite interesting, Sarutobi pondered, "I might just keep things like that a secret. Naruto was present at his first council meeting just a week ago. The mission room was where he was now. Well, it seems like the D ranks are going bigger with the recent additions. However, it seems as though there is to be a C rank for your team, Kakashi. Lord Hokage asked Kakashi. I am aware of what your team is doing, and as such, I am allowing it for your team, Sarutobi stated to him. In the end, Kakashi asked, and the mission? It is a protection mission. This is going over to Wave Country. You are to protect a bridge builder, so he can finish his bridge. Naruto's eyes narrowed. This is much more than a C rank, Kyuubi. I already got the memo from Khan. Let's go for it anyway. We can get a higher rank than before, but we need to make sure we're ready for anything. I understand. Naruto, have you heard anything from the Phoenix clan? Yes, and prepare yourself for anything. Ninja from other villages are also included in that. I understand. This is right up our alley. That's precisely what I believed. A person walked in. The bottle in his hand simply broke. What? They're sending kids nowadays. They look wet behind the ears, especially the GI. If you hurt her again, you'll lose more than your sake. Naruto's words made him fully sober. The elderly man said, I retract that. They're far more capable than I initially believed. My name is Tazuna, the Grandmaster Bridge Builder. Alright, East Gate. 1 hour. Naruto said, make it 2 hours, Kakashi. Sensei. We'll need to make sure we're prepared for anything, and that includes something that could easily be found off with this mission after it starts. Sarutobi inquired, are you questioning the mission parameters? Naruto acknowledged, only without physical proof. If what I figure is correct, then we'll need to be prepared. If not, well, I'm sure Kakashi Sensei can figure it out from there. Starting with, plan for the worst, Kakashi said. Naruto concluded by saying, hope for the best. He threw a scroll and said, I'm out. I have to find a few things first. And Lord Hokage. Unseal one seal if there is a council meeting that requires Uzumaki presence. If not, don't bother. When the meeting is done, let it roam, as they have preset instructions once released from the seal. They will each last up to 4 days, so don't unseal more than one at any point in time. He returned in his typical fire shunshin. Hinata dissolved into the wind after saying, Tazuna, you will find there are more to us than you think. Sasuke gave him a look. Never insult Hinata, or you risk the wrath of someone that not even the Hokage can stand up to and not be scared. He fled in a fire shunshin. 2 hours later. Waiting for Kakashi and Tazuna, Team 7 stood at the East Gate. They had 5 minutes. Naruto questioned, so we all know the full scope? Both of them gave a nod. We don't let on if we know. In fact, if anything, keep your guard up, but keep our suspicions out of our voice or posture. We need to make it seem like it's nothing big, and when they strike, that's when we continue showing what all we can do. Naruto replied. There was an explosion somewhere else. Hey, those guys won't know what hit them. Naruto turned his gaze there. Both Hinata and Sasuke were unsure of what it was. Who did that? Naruto raised his voice and asked, my question is, Haruno or Hyuga? At the same time, they both said, what? Sakura's mom, your dad, and myself have been adding D ranks recently. You have no idea how effective they are, regardless of it originally being my idea. I wasn't called the prank demon for no reason, you know? He stated, addressing Hinata. Sasuke said, oh, that makes sense. Hinata nodded in agreement. Tazuna and Kakashi approached them. Any idea what just happened? One of the counselors added another D rank. More specifically, Haruno or Hyuga. I can't say which either. Naruto said. Don't worry too much about it. Kakashi retorted languidly, if you say so. It's obvious you're in the loop. Alright, let's get going. For a few hours, they all walked in a basic formation. Naruto and Sasuke remained silent as Hinata started to ask questions. They were straightforward inquiries, mostly concerning the bridge itself. Although Tazuna was a little taken aback that she was considering the bridge itself, she responded with ease. When the ninja team saw the puddle, they all had the same idea. It starts when they hit. Kakashi thought of something else. He was correct, then. Let's see how well prepared they were. Kakashi let his guard down entirely, and they launched an attack. The Jenin, who never ventured that far from Tazuna, took notice when they encircled Kakashi with a chain. Alpha, said Naruto. Mike, added Sasuke. Hinata said, Foxtrot, in closing. 448, they exclaimed. While Hinata used a scaled down version of wind jutsu, Naruto and Sasuke used fire jutsu. Each of them was burned, but the bodies were not destroyed. Before the flames went out, there were 2 screams. Tsunade was surprised that they had gone that far after the Jenin saw what had transpired. As Kakashi emerged from the bushes, they started tying up the ninja. "I must say you acting quickly and efficiently." Naruto said, "Told you something was wrong with this mission. I'm not surprised though. No matter what, crazy shit always happens to me. I always seem to get the short end of the stick, and missions C rank and above are likely to end higher rank than intended. I have no doubt about handling this. It's what we've been training for. But this was a little too easy. A pair of rogue Chunnin should be harder than this." As he looked at them, Kakashi said, "That they should. Demon brothers. They're trained to continue until death or their job is done." Before turning to face Tsunade, Naruto remarked, "And they will no longer have bounties on them after we're done here. Tsunade, I have a bird's eye view for a lot of things. I already knew of the state your village is in. I'm not surprised you lied about the mission parameters, but that would normally cause us to go back and have a higher ranking team handle it. Something tells me, you wouldn't be able to pay for a higher rank mission, am I right?" Yes. That's right, Tsunade said, lowering her hands. Both Genins nodded as Naruto glanced at them. "Kakashi. Sensei, we're going all the way. Don't worry about dangers, because we can handle it. This is more a test of our true skills, and now, we don't have much to worry about for holding back. You've seen us in team training, but rarely in individual training. Sasuke went on, training with the dead is helpful. And with the Uzumaki and Namikaze scrolls? We're good," Hinata continued. Kakashi's idleness came to an abrupt halt when he said, "Then we shall continue. We should let the Hokage know." Naruto looked up and saw a phoenix leaving, saying, "Taken care of." He created 2 shadow clones and said, "As for the bounties." The clones nodded and each took a body, saying, "My clones will handle that." The demon brothers followed them as they both left. Laziness gone, Kakashi said, "Let's move. This is no longer a C rank. It's a B rank, possibly an A rank. You have any idea who the boss is?" Naruto gave a headshake. Tsunade drew everyone's attention to him and said, "His name is Gato. A man of extreme wealth, and he doesn't want the bridge finished." All eyes turned to Naruto as he said, "And that's where my bad feeling came from. I knew the situation was bad, but this man is going up against someone that could hire just about anyone to kill him off. Next one is likely Junin level, and if he is taken down, then there is likely to be an even bigger threat afterwards. We'll need to be careful from here on out. No longer is this a mission where the normal book will cut it." Come to think of it, that kind of move was not in the normal book. Hinata looked shocked when Naruto remarked, "Actually, that was a more Chunin level, possibly Junin level tactic in said book. Now, Kakashi is going by his book. We, on the other hand, are going by my book." "Wait a minute. You think this is that bad?" she said. In order to gain some understanding from Sasuke, Naruto explained to her that it could get worse, and none of us have any true practice where we would need it in the normal book. We've been training team strategy from my book, not the original. And now, we're going to need our best. Everyone nodded when Sasuke said, "Let's get going. The sooner we get there, the sooner the bridge is built, and the sooner Gato is thwarted." "Thank you." Naruto said, "Thank us by completing the bridge, Tsunade. I hate the sorry state he put your village in. If he rears his ugly head, then I will kill him without hesitation. I've dealt with people like him all my life, and they made my life." Hinata interrupted him, saying, Hell doesn't even begin to describe his life, but that's the closest word to it. I'm not going into detail, because you can figure it out from there." They exchanged glances and nodded. They proceeded in a formation that was improbable given the circumstances. It wasn't the typical delta formation. To Tsunade's left was Sasuke. In front of him were Naruto and Hinata. Kakashi appeared to have left the back open, as he was to the right. Naruto seemed to know what he was saying, so Tsunade didn't bother to ask any questions. They arrived at the border without any issues. They all boarded a boat and entered, ostensibly undetected. The ninja were aware of this. Before they did, Hinata took the initiative to add Sasuke to the telepathic link, for which he was grateful. Through that link, they have been discussing among themselves while reading the Book of Potential Tactics. The subtle hint of chakra in the air caught their attention. Naruto considered covering them with a genjutsu, but changed his mind. As they crossed the bridge, Naruto glanced at Kakashi. He grasped the message right away. They've already seen us. Everyone was on high alert after they touched down. The boatman left after Tsunade thanked him for the ferry. As they proceeded inland, Naruto threw a kunai without revealing his Omega Buster. They were perplexed by this before he proceeded to extract the rabbit. Guys, this rabbit should have a brown coat. I didn't use the Omega Buster because of this. As soon as Sasuke and Sakura heard that in their minds, they became acutely aware of their surroundings. In a matter of seconds, Kakashi struck the deck, Hinata leapt to her feet, and Sasuke pulled Tsunade down. Naruto was nowhere to be found. Someone appeared on a tree after a sword struck it. No wonder the demon brothers lost. I see it's the copy ninja Kakashi, said the man. Zabuza Momochi. When the demon brothers were defeated by my students, I figured you were somehow involved. Now that you're here. Sasuke drew out a stone that resembled a tiny sword and said, wait. I've got this one. Hinata, see if you can find Naruto. She responded, not possible. You know what happens when he doesn't want to be found, right? You mean? Hinata answered, yes, he's hiding himself from even my dujutsu. Kakashi. Sensei, the three of us will stay here and keep Tsunade safe from this guy. Naruto left for a reason. Whatever that reason is, it's important if he's hiding himself completely, and to this extent. Zabuza said, no Jenin could handle the demon brothers. You're obviously bluffing. Sasuke used this opportunity to use the stone to block the sword that was headed straight for him. You're nothing but a wet behind the ears brat. Sasuke asked, you think so? Before channeling chakra into the stone, which caused it to change before Zabuza's eyes. He pushed Zabuza away with the blade, saying, this sword is one that only I can use. Zabuza was taken aback by the attack's strength. I didn't realize this kid had so much power behind his strikes. Is it possible that these guys are young for their age and truly Chunnin? Rank isn't the only thing that matters in the shinobi world. Sasuke replied. Hinata stiffened slightly and said, you, of all people, should realize that. Zabuza saw, but failed to take advantage of it. When she said, looks like Naruto's about to start his own fight with someone, Kakashi and Tsunade took notice. You two handle this guy. I'll handle Tsunade. Leave Naruto to his devices. If his situation goes sour, then I'll go to him. Deep Forest a hunter ninja was in front of Naruto. You've been in the area longer than we were. I go far enough to say you were Zabuza's right hand, and not a real hunter ninja. As the hunter ninja put it, you are too smart for your own good, but keeping me here will mean nothing if you die. Before the scene shifted to a spiraling void of orange and red, Naruto said, I'm not just going to keep you here. A.N. Imagine the red. Flame Dragoon's legend of the dragon special transformation field. We're both going to be here, and neither of us can leave until they finish their fight. Zabuza will die against them, and any highly destructive jutsu used here will have no adverse effects on the landscape in the forest we were just at. An effective, space. Time jutsu, one that only I can use. Why bother? You will still lose to my speed, he replied. Naruto said to him, first, your name. I will give you mine when you give it to me. And I don't mean a code name he told you give me. I want your real name. To which the hunter ninja replied, Haku, Haku Kori. Naruto informed him, Naruto Uzumaki. Haku's voice rose, Uzumaki? Of the Uzumaki clan? Naruto said, ah, so you know of it? A shame, really. I had recently found texts about them, and that my clan worked in tandem with them often, as allies. Haku informed him. As they sat down, Naruto remarked, then we can forego the fight for now, and simply talk. The field won't go down on my order. I set it to continue until my teammate's fight is completely over. Meaning, either Zabuza is dead, or Tsunade and my teammates are dead. We cannot help either side. The eyes behind the mask widened, you mean? Drop the mask. I'll need to see your face, if we're going to talk. Honestly, I don't exactly trust you. Naruto acknowledged. Haku's lovely face was exposed when he removed the mask. Kami, why do you manipulate my feelings in this way? No comment. Stop talking. I understand the situation, and that there is nothing I can do as of yet. Haku stated. However, Zabuza saved my life as a child. Gave me a reason to live. That is why I followed him. He's the reason I'm here today. I don't like killing, regardless of the reason. Inquiringly, Naruto said, so, you follow him to repay a debt? Haku gave a nod. Why pay the debt to someone like him? I find it necessary to do so. He helped me, I help him. He gave me reason to live, taught me how to survive. I am his tool, nothing more, nothing less. Naruto answered, well, I'm going to call bullshit on that. A tool is only as good as the one that uses it. You don't think you'd have any humanity left if he did think of you as a tool and only a tool, do you? What are saying? A tool that is made from flesh and blood follows orders, regardless. If he told you to kill someone close to you, would you do it? Replied Naruto. If he told you to kill him yourself, would you do it? And I'm not talking about a fake kill. A full-blown kill, replied Naruto. I couldn't. He's the only one that matters to me. Naruto's eyes widened as he said, then you are not a true tool. If you are not willing to kill him if ordered, then you are not a true tool. He is not likely to realize it himself, either. But, Naruto interrupted, saying, no buts. Haku, I need to know something. Why do you follow him? And don't bother saying it's your duty to as his tool. Search your heart for the answer. Haku didn't say anything. He's more of a father than my own. Naruto stated, and that's the reason I was hoping you'd give. Your clan was said to work with mine. I believe we should reinstate that action, don't you? Why? Inquired Haku. I don't see the point in it. My clan was nearly destroyed. So is mine. Both of them. I am well aware of the Kori clan's Kekkei Genkai. The Hyouden is a feared bloodline. If I didn't have fire, I'd be able to use it myself. What does that have to do with anything? What I'll get is not like Hyouden, with wind, water and fire as my elements. I get a tertiary element, which I do not have access to as of yet. I can't use the sub-elements using two of them. Haku muttered, the sacred flame of the Uzumaki. No one knows of the true name as it is so rare, even within the clan, that no one knows how to use it, and it can't be copied by anything. It's the only tertiary element that can't be used by anyone that is not of Uzumaki blood at birth, right down to the soul. Or so it's believed. There are nothing but legends about it. It would have been a hell of a lot better if I went up against demons with that element. Naruto continued. That's what I heard. It was said to be the only thing demons feared more than the Jubi. Even that was considered a myth. Haku continued. Zabuza won't make it out of that fight. If Sasuke activates his Dujutsu, and uses it to its fullest, Zabuza won't stand a chance. Kakashi also has Sharingan, as you know. Hinata is of the Hyuga clan, but doesn't act like any of the others. Unless they're after me, she won't go all out, but if she does, she's pissed, and it caused her to kill off an elder of her own clan. She's more dangerous than the average Hyuga is said to be at twice her age. However, the most dangerous out of all of us is me. My tactics are unpredictable. My ideas, insane at best. My life, impossible is what I say is the correct word. The only other word I can think of is hell, but that's an understatement. And they don't realize that you're their most powerful asset? Naruto shrugged and said, I personally blame human nature, not the people themselves. They feared something they know nothing about. As such, that fear turned into hate, and that hate needed a scapegoat. I was that scapegoat. Haku acknowledged, my story is not as tragic, but I see it as needed, and before you ask, I'm actually a girl, regardless of Zabuza wanting me to be a male. Damn it. I'm having a terrible day, and you don't want to screw her at all? That damn CRA would make them want me to pursue Hinata as well, but I'm okay with her by herself. Only because I believed those requirements wouldn't be fulfilled did I come up with them. And you didn't want that to happen? You're such an idiot. Very furball. As he listened to the story, Naruto interrupted him and said, she's talking again. When she was done, Naruto remarked, sounds like Sasuke's story. He'd probably love to be with someone like him. You'd be considered Uchiha, not that of the Kori clan, regardless of your bloodline going into his children with you as well. But wait, wouldn't that just cancel out the bloodlines? That's a common misconception. There was a record of the Byakugan entering the Uzumaki clan long ago, but it never made it the third generation. The baby was killed by some random man, after it was discovered to have the Byakugan. It never had a chance to make a third generation outside Konohagakure. The father was not happy and committed suicide. The mother did as well. The only records of it happening was what I just told you. It proves that Dujutsu bloodline and an element-based bloodline, like yours and mine, can mix without canceling each other out. One person can have 3 bloodlines: Chakra, physical, and Dujutsu. You don't have the physical bloodline, and neither does he. He had a Dujutsu, which means my children with him will have both of our bloodlines without fail. Exactly. Said Naruto. Since he's the last of his clan, he has to take multiple wives. You're the last of your clan, but they won't be out of the wetwork. If anyone asks, there is no more Kori clan. They can't force the CRA on you, as you are female. I have the entire CRA memorized, and as such, I know for a fact that they can't force you. You can go for Sasuke only, and then teach them of the Hyouden. I can even give you copies of the Uzumaki Hyouden Jutsu, as we could use them as well. I'd appreciate it. I guess I'll be coming with you when you are done with your mission. Haku responded, one question. Completely relaxed, Naruto said, don't announce it, just ask. Why did you say his story is like mine? His entire clan was wiped out by his brother. It's only thanks to me that he's not hung up on revenge, said Naruto. In that moment, the field became a forest again. Huh. Looks like it's over. Let's go to them. Both of them stood up and leapt back to the team. Team 7. Zabuza had passed away. His body was beside his head. The wound was cauterized, although there were faint signs of lightning. Sasuke sheathed his sword on his back after transforming it back into its stone form. His Sharingan turned off. That was tough, he said. Hinata, whose breathing was a little erratic but not as much as Sasuke's, who collapsed on his butt, said, even 3. On point 1 made it tough. They didn't recognize Naruto when he landed in front of them. Kakashi. Sensei, don't worry too much about her. She's more like Sasuke than anyone else I know. As the girl approached Zabuza's body, Kakashi was cautious. No. He was correct. He had little chance. She glanced at the others. She located Sasuke, who had the distinctive features of Uchiha. He was worn out. The next person she saw, Hinata, was less worn out. She recognized Kakashi right away. He was low on chakra, but she knew he was alert. Then she returned her focus to the corpse. With a broken voice, she said, Naruto. Please, let me give him a burial. She said without glancing at him, I will come with you, as I found ship in you. Just as Kakashi was about to strike, Naruto moved to block his path. Sasuke could clearly hear the words. Zabuza was more of a father to her than her own father, who tried to kill her. He asked, you mean, she's like me? And Naruto nodded. At least let her bury the only one to bother treating her like a father for something she was better off without. Almost like me, said Naruto. Kiri Blood Wars. Naruto remarked, that's my guess. It fits with what I know, and her clan was friends with the Uzumaki clan before it was seemingly eradicated. Kakashi gave that a nod. Which one? Naruto said to him, Kori. Then her addition to Konohagakure would be helpful. Why does she have a Kiri headband? He inquired. She was posing as a hunter ninja from Kiri to help the one she saw as a father. Now that he's dead, she is willing to come with us. She also will need to find someone to be there for her when she needs it. I figure Sasuke and I can help more than anyone else, due to similar, if not identical, pasts. Naruto said. Tsunade. We should head to your place. Her name? She answered over Zabuza's prone body, Haku. She handled the sword with ease and said, take his head to a bounty station somewhere. He is dead. I will take his sword. The rest is to be buried. It will take time to adjust without him, but I'll manage somehow. Thank you. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto gave a nod. Kakashi. Sensei, I'll go with her to bury him. The 3 of you take Tsunade to his place. Right now, she needs a shoulder to cry on, and Sasuke isn't in the shape for it, the way I see it. They all nodded, and Kakashi fell to the ground as soon as he stepped. After letting out a sigh, Naruto created 3 shadow clones. They nodded, realizing that there was no point in arguing. Help them back. Together with Sasuke, they hobbled after picking up Kakashi. In case something else came up, the last one was still there. Zabuza was taken to a cliffside by Naruto and Haku, who buried him there. As Haku laid an ice rose on the grave, Naruto was silently praying to the Shinigami. Her own prayer was being said. Haku sobbed for the majority of the several hours they spent there. For the most part, she sobbed into Naruto's shoulder. Before she was done, it was well past dusk, and she was asleep. After picking her up, Naruto made a camp in a thick patch of forest, built a fire, and set up a complete concealment. Naruto created a shadow clone while Haku was fast asleep, and it vanished right away, before he fell asleep himself. Tsunade's location Naruto, stiffened. Hinata took note. Hinata, Sasuke, and Tsunade all turned to face him and said, hey, looks like she cried herself to sleep. Sasuke questioned, she did? Naruto, said, boss ain't surprised to be honest. They're staying out in the forest, behind a triple-layer barrier held together with seals. I wouldn't worry about him. He'll be here tomorrow. At least, that's his plan. Sasuke inquired, where is he? I wouldn't bother looking for him. You'd need to know where the grave is, and from there, find the densest part of the forest. Boss ain't gonna like what Inari said at all. We didn't do anything for the simple fact that's his job. I could have easily told him off but. Hinata said, oh don't worry about that. I've got an idea to put him through the ringer and not harm him physically. If that doesn't change his tune, then I don't know what will. Sasuke informed her, you aren't going to use a genjutsu on him. When he says stuff like that, he actively insults Naruto, you and me, not to mention Haku. Said Hinata. Someone has to let him know that he has it easy compared to most. For a civilian, he does have it bad. For a ninja, what he's been through is everyday life. Behind the door was Inari, a small boy. He opened the door and said, what the hell are you talking about? As soon as their eyes locked, they were in a light blue area, just like Naruto and Haku had been in before. The truth. And by the way, what I was going to do is not genjutsu. Not entirely. I signed with the Kitsune, so I have some of their jutsu in my arsenal. As Sasuke put it, what is this place? Kitsune interrogation realm. There's a red one that is made for fighting, or holding someone back until a certain condition is met. I'm guessing that Naruto had Haku there, but they didn't fight. This one is made for showing images of certain lives. Memories, so to speak. I could show him mine, yours, or even Naruto's. I can't show him Haku's because I am not that familiar with her. Naruto and I can bring up 3 at the least. The last one that I can bring up is similar to the Tsukuyomi, and is a dark violet color. Now, Inari. You're going to watch what we've been through. Just don't cry to your mother when you see Naruto's. I'm showing you mine first, as it's the easiest to bear. This is the everything was awful until Naruto came to her aid. I started it when I was 3, and nearly kidnapped by Kumogakure. From there, my life to hell. I ended it a few months back, when Naruto started helping me out, said Hinata. Sasuke questioned, is it possible to bring my memories in myself? Hinata gave a nod. He displayed the aspects of his life that few people would want to see. I'm next, then. All the way up until his brother left after almost killing him in his own house. The consequences and what Naruto did to him in order to improve his own circumstances. You may have your parents, but mine are dead. Naruto's the only reason I can talk to my mother at all. With tears in his eyes, Inari was on his knees. Hinata observed him in his current condition. How? How can you go through all that and not break down? Because we have a reason to move on, and if you think that was hell, you're sadly mistaken. Said Hinata. I've been inside Naruto's mind myself. I've seen his memories in its entirety. The good and the bad. The good ones didn't start until recently, with only maybe 4 or 5 exceptions. With a sniff, Inari said, please, show me. If you can't take ours, then there's no way in life or death you could take his. Hinata replied. Still in tears, he said, please, do it. I may cry myself out, but at least I'll understand. She shrugged as Sasuke gave her a look. She said, okay, but listen, and don't say I didn't warn you. Then she showed him the memories she had seen of him. Knowing that he would want to remember everything, Sasuke kept his Sharingan active while he watched. Hinata was crying when it was finished. Sasuke closed his eyes and said he would cry too. Inari watched, her eyes watering. Now do you see? Hinata said in a dejected tone. Do you see why we disagree with your assertion that heroes don't exist? It's because we've been there. We've done that, and we want to stop it ourselves by helping those who need it. That's why we're here, not because we were ordered to, but because we want to help. To get their attention, Sasuke uttered, I had no idea. Hinata nodded and said, I knew he had it bad but. To have it this bad. Hinata remarked, I had the same thought. I would have committed suicide by the age of 6 if I went through that. That's why he's even amazed at Bijuu, which are said to be ruthless cold-hearted killers. He went through all of that, and he doesn't even want to harm them. He wants to protect them. He doesn't fault them for what they did. I wouldn't be able to handle it myself. I almost lost myself to revenge, and he brought me out of it. Even with everything he's been through, I wouldn't be able to handle it, and on top of everything I already have to deal with, going through what he did would make me commit suicide on the spot. Sasuke said in a sorrowful voice. Inari sobbed into Hinata's chest after running into her. She also allowed the waterworks to run. To the surprise of Tsunade and Tsunami, the realm vanished, leaving them in the same room. Tsunade questioned, what did she do to you all? Showed him, our lives. I'm like this, because she showed us Naruto's. I doubt the entire village here would compare to his pain, yet he still doesn't blame the people that put him in that state. Sasuke said in a sad tone. Inari, Sasuke and Hinata sobbed themselves to sleep. Tsunade led Inari to his own bed, and Sasuke and Hinata dozed off as well. The following morning, forest. Haku and Naruto awoke simultaneously, and Naruto discovered memories that had not existed when he had gone to sleep. So, his house is located there. Haku gave Naruto a look. Are we going to Tsunade's? I will gladly help you guard him. I've got a bone to pick with Gato myself. Yes, but tomorrow, you, Hinata, and I are going to go after Gato himself. We stop him, we give the village hope. That's all this town needs right now. Naruto stated to her. He stood up and assisted Haku in standing up, saying, a reason to have hope. I have Tsunade's place in my mind. What I do know is not pretty. Hinata and Sasuke cried themselves to sleep. The last time Hinata did that was when I told her a sugar-coated version on my life. She then went through my memories herself. She saw just how bad I had it. She knows me better than anyone else. My guess is, they showed Inari, a little boy, my life, and that's why he cried himself to sleep as well. Before Naruto removed the barriers and leapt off, Haku said, then we should get going. Both of them touched down on the pier where Naruto discovered Tsunade's. They approached the front door and knocked, saying, here we are. The door was opened by Tsunade. Tsunade questioned, you are Naruto? Naruto asked, yes, I take it you are Tsunade's daughter, Tsunade. And she gave him a startled look. How did you know? I had 3 shadow clones here. They transfer memories when dispelled, so of course I'd know. I also know that Sasuke, Hinata, and I believe he is your son, Inari, cried themselves to sleep last night. The reasoning the clone heard from Sasuke, and apparently he did that after viewing my memories as Hinata saw them herself. Tsunade said, that's what he said, alright. And you? Haku answered, Haku, I was with him last night. Tsunade opened the door fully and said, okay, come on in. The others aren't awake yet. Just me. Both of them entered and assisted in preparing breakfast. One by one, the others awoke to discover that Haku and Naruto had already arrived and were preparing food. Okay. While cooking, Naruto was also giving Haku some advice. This was unexpected when Kakashi entered. Naruto, when did you learn to cook? When I was 4, I could cook. The reason I never did was because the village always kicked me out of the stores, or severely overpriced the most rotten items. Why do you think I had a garden on my roof at one point? Naruto asked, and then stopped. Come to think of it, I'll need to clean that thing out. I haven't used it in a while, and I probably should. Oh, said Kakashi, I probably ought to have given him a little assistance. Self-pity, you are cursed. He had an extremely composed expression on his face as he thought this. Following their meal, Naruto and Hinata spent some time training in the forest. Haku stayed with the family while Sasuke looked after Tsunade in the morning. Naruto thought it was a good idea for Haku and Sasuke to train after lunch, while Hinata was with Tsunade and Naruto protected the family. Forest on the first day's afternoon. Sasuke was in a clearing with Haku. Alright, Sasuke, I hear that you should have access to the ice element. Care to explain? Why? Because it's supposed to be a bloodline, and not that of the Uchiha clan. It only manifests in only the Uzumaki and Kori clans. My only question is, why do you have it? Sasuke nodded and said, Naruto told you this, didn't he? And you can use the element. Yes, however he said you don't have water or wind as your primary elements. Wind is not easy for me, and water is downright suicide at the moment. My elements are fire and lightning, not water and wind. And Hyouten normally requires water and wind. This is why I'm confused. Haku acknowledged. Sasuke paused and said, that makes 2 of us. I have Sharingan, and normally it won't copy bloodlines, but if I can use an element that I see, do you think it would be possible to use that same element myself? I do not know, but if it is possible, then I'd have to use a full Hyouten jutsu and you'd have to copy it yourself to see for sure. Haku acknowledged. Would you mind if I did? She shook her head and made a few hand gestures, but as soon as her head moved, Sasuke used his Sharingan. Hyouten. Hirenmaru. Sasuke saw exactly what was required for the enormous ice dragon that was forming in the air. Try it out. That's exactly what Sasuke did, but his creation was only a tenth of Haku's size. That was only a normal ice dragon, not the Hirenmaru. Haku was taken aback when Sasuke said, sorry, but it's the first time I've used ice in my life. Are you sure? Because that wouldn't be possible if it was. The Sharingan allows me to copy the opponent's jutsu, but it doesn't truly copy the experience with it. So while I may know how to perform, if I don't have the means, I can't. This means I can actually use Hyouden, as I wouldn't have been able to copy it, only understand it, if I did have the ability to use it myself. Well, for an ice dragon, that would seem somewhat pathetic, I'll admit. Sasuke remarked, I'm sensing but, here. For a first-timer using the ice element, that was far beyond proficient. Haku said. Sasuke was happy. Try this one. Sasuke repeated the hand signs after Haku went over them. Needles flew in the direction of trees, giving some of them a smiley face. Sasuke produced nothing of value. His jutsu didn't even function, in fact. What happened? Quietly, Sasuke said, I don't know. There's something missing. I managed to defeat an ice dragon, but... Hold on. Dragon of Ice. Haku, I need to figure something out, and it would require a bit of space. Don't tell me, Haku said, leaping into a tree. Using his summoning jutsu, Sasuke went. Summoning jutsu. The dragon that put him to the test materialized. What do you want, Uchiha? Didn't you get enough when you wrangled me last time? The dragon responded. The dragon have several elements, and something tells me that ice is among them. Am I right on that? I'm one of those ice dragons, you nitwit. Then are you the reason I can use some ice jutsu, being as a Uchiha, normally, cannot? Wait, you can use ice, you weren't aware. Don't tell me you can use lightning and fire as well. Yes, I can, and yes, I already have the blade that you're thinking of. What I want to know is, why can I use ice? Replied Sasuke. Haku said, I am wondering that as well, dragon. She leapt alongside him. After all, I'll need to know this, if I am to help him with Hyouden. He could use an ice dragon jutsu, namely the Hyorinmaru, only weaker, but he is, for some reason, unable to perform another Hyouden, a simpler one, without practice. In fact, he failed outright with that one, but managed a small ice dragon jutsu with the Hyorinmaru. Then that means, Sasuke Uchiha, you have gained some of my abilities, as I am the one who recruited you. I am not sure how it is possible, but for now, once you get that Hyorinmaru jutsu to full size, you should be able to learn other ice jutsu that he'd want you to learn. Sasuke glared at the dragon and declared, she's a woman. Really? Cause he seriously looks like a guy. Not my fault. My features have yet to set in, and my vocal cords are still used to the male voice I used as a disguise, as per my adopted father's request. Give it some time, and I will be back to a female voice. Haku replied, staring at the dragon. Alright, sheesh. Look, if you want him to learn any of the other Hyouden jutsu, he should train with the higher level dragon jutsu first. That should help him out. Once he gets it to the correct level, then he should go down a level. As such, backtracking would be the case here. When going from the bottom up doesn't work, starting at the top and going down will. That's some good advice there, dragon. It's Hiroko. And thank you. After all, I am Hyorinmaru's grandson. Haku said, you're kidding me. Nope. I also know that he gave some human clan the Hyouden ability, some 500 years ago, or something. His brother, also an ice dragon, though part water dragon, went for a different human clan, that lived around whirlpools or something. I didn't get it myself, but they received blessings from several summoning clans. One of which the Yondu came from. No matter what summoning clan you go to, they all say one had more favor than any other among us. The Uzumaki clan is a wonder. They were never arrogant, just highly stubborn. Well, that explains Naruto. He is an Uzumaki, after all. She was informed by Hiroko, I am aware. For now, stick to getting the Hyorinmaru jutsu perfect. Once that's done, then go for a lower level. I'm out. In a cloud of smoke, he departed. At last, Sasuke and Haku were ahead. For the remainder of the afternoon, they collaborated. Naruto and Haku left the house for a quick run after dinner. They were as quiet as they could be as they leapt through the trees. They communicated by using Anbu hand signs, which they both knew. Haku questioned, are you sure about this? Positive. We need to deal with him before he hires another man. How are you sure he hasn't? People like him are too far corrupted. He will do anything to save his wallet. Then why hire more? To kill them off once weakened. It happens often. Haku agreed, saying, too often. Once the target is down, we take out the rest. Haku gestured. Wait. Naruto landed on a branch. In a whisper, she said, this is it. Naruto took out a pair of glasses and said, all right, give me a minute. I love my father's ideas for many reasons. Let me see. One eye only. Naruto's eye turned red, but instead of the typical slit, it had a circle for a pupil. Looks like he made a chakra locator. Would help in searching missions. It has flaws because I have to manually put them on. That's why you were going to put it on the armor. Bingo. We must now locate Gato. I understand. Naruto muttered, 4th floor. He's out of it. How can you tell? His is the most corrupted. One other comes close, and seems to be right outside that same room, but in a hallway. The one in the room is Gato. Time to lay a few traps. Go for Gato. I'll set the traps among all the levels. Rendezvous at the grave, and bring the head. Naruto said with a wink. Haku leapt when he gave the go signal. In contrast, Naruto transformed into a real shadow and arrived there by setting up traps on the walls from the bottom up. A few shadow clones were also using the higher levels in the same way. A clone scattered when a level was finished. One saw Haku go, indicating that she was finished. After 10 more minutes, the true Naruto had arrived at the grave and all clones had been vanquished. He held up a sign and said, time to light up a show. Then a huge ball of fire emerged from Gato's hiding place. Haku blew a whistle. That's one big fireball. I skipped most of the upper levels due to something I found highly interesting, said Naruto. I found he had some high-yield bombs, that were far more effective than my own Yuki bombs. The Yuki bomb is a seal I came up with myself. It has the power of about 200 standard paper bombs. I placed one on each one he had finished, and guess what? That fireball was more of his, than mine. You know, I'm starting to see why Deidara loves explosions. They tend to light up the night. In Wind Country, somewhere. Blonde sneezed. Someone must be talking about me, because I don't get colds. Maybe someone is complimenting my art. A rough voice from a hunchback next to him said, you wish. Tsunade's location. Kakashi was still on his back, but Sasuke, Hinata, and Kakashi were all awake. Everyone saw the fireball and had a single idea. That is the epitome of Naruto. Back with Naruto. Naruto let out a sneeze. Someone must be talking about me. Jinchuriki don't get colds, for some reason. My fault for the cold thing. As for who's talking about you, there's no one. But someone, or rather 3 someones are thinking about you. More specifically, the fireball. Well, that was a work of art, but I'm no expert. I'm inclined to agree Kit. If Deidara were around, he'd definitely be like this. Returning to Wind Country. Another sneeze from a blonde. I'm still inclined to believe someone appreciates my art. Think what you want, Deidara. Shot back the sour hunchback. Shut up, Sasori, said Deidara, the blonde. Back with Naruto. Kit, I just heard something long range. Mind if I send out a wind clone to the location? Why not? Naruto's wind chakra was hurled as far out as it could go by Kyuubi. Wind Country once more. While they were in the middle of the desert, Deidara claimed that Sasori did not value his art. At this point, a man in a cloak materialized in front of them. Deidara of Iowa, I presume. I have no affiliation with him. Oh, then I must have the wrong guy. One of my subordinates just caused a massive explosion over in Wave Country, and figured that he would be a little envious. Thought I heard something long range from this vicinity about explosions being art, and figured he was here. Oh, well, in that case, then I'm sorry about deceiving you. Who did the explosion? Deidara, you fool, relax, hunchback, I'm not here to capture him. Quick question, an explosion about 800 feet high, white-hot flames, and maybe 50 feet in radius. Where would that stand in your ratings? Deidara was shocked and asked, did I miss an explosion that big? Yes, and I was present for it too. Wind travel, with a wind clone. Where would you rate it? Deidara yelled at the hunchback, hey, told you someone else thought my art was true art. Give me full details. The man in the cloak provided all the information. Wow. That's just, wow, 6 stars. Thought you might like it. By the way, the one that did this is a Jinchuriki. Later, the man said before he vanished into light. Wait, what? Now, I'm curious. Let's call the others. Deidara pretended that he was silent when he said, wait. He said this was a Jinchuriki, so it must have been the Rokubi, but he's already been captured, hasn't he? We must think on this. Call the others. We need to let them know. Random cave. A number of holograms emerged. Deidara, Sasori, what is your report? We have some interesting news. Deidara was out. staged by a Jinchuriki in Wave Country in his specialty. The only one that seems to have been capable of it would be the Rokubi, but he's already been captured. Sasori said. Another said, I saw that explosion from Lightning Country. I am not sure which one, but I am about 2 days away from it. Shall I retrieve them? The person who appeared to be the leader responded, no. Go and observe only. We have no reason to capture this one yet. Wait, Kakazu, I have shown you my C1 dragon, and its results. Which one is bigger, or flashier? The one in Wave. Bigger? No, about the same size. Maybe a little bigger. Flashier. Definitely. The man responded. Deidara exclaimed, oh, I so gotta meet this one. Before vanishing. Wave Country. A chill went through Naruto's body. It seems words gotten out about your little explosion. You refer to that as little. Compared to some I've seen, yeah. Compared to most, hell no. Thank you. I'm proud of what I do. You call that ball of flames your art? Naruto felt Kyuubi at the edge of his seat, saying, no, my art is the art of pranks. The head's facefo was inevitable. You really did see that coming. Kyuubi cut off the connection after responding, oh, shut up. What would Deidara think of that one, though? A man in a cloak materialized, and Naruto recognized him right away as his wind clone. From the description, he gave 6 stars. Sweet. And I sugar-coated the description. According to Naruto, even better. Good job, man. Hey, I am you, after all. After receiving a nod, Naruto said, I know. Just dispel. I seriously need a break after that. He then proceeded to Tazuna's house, where Hinata was waiting on the roof. Let me guess. You caused the explosion. A.N. Flea from Code Geass, yeah. Multiple sets of 30 Yuki bombs, along with some of Gato's high-yield bombs. I think the screen said flare or something. Gato only had 2, but a third was being built. They weren't finished, but they were primed, and ready to go. I only had them add to my explosion, giving off what you saw. You remember Deidara from Iwa in that bingo book we found? Yeah, why? Wind Clone gave a sugar-coated description, and he rated it 6 stars. And he's the pinnacle of explosions. And now you see that I'm honored to have caused such an explosion. Naruto stated to her. Hinata informed him, you would be. And Gato. Haku took the head, I blasted everything else in the explosion. They never knew what hit them. Then Gato's dead. Why am I not surprised? Because you probably saw it coming. Hinata said, you're right, I did. That's probably not a good thing. Nah, it means you can predict where not to be when I'm in a pranking mood. Naruto replied. True. Now come on, let's to sleep. Word will get around that Gato is dead. With what I told Haku to do with his head, I'm thinking about spreading word of a new monument in the morning. Posters are being set up as we speak. The following day, everywhere you looked, you could see flyers saying the same thing. To witness redemption, visit a hero's execution site. The villagers did not see what they had anticipated, but they did expect a few things. A spike had a head on it. There was still hair on the head. There was a plaque beneath it. Never undervalue a hero. You will die, at his ghost's hands. Kaiza and his surviving agent. Namikaze Naruto Uzumaki. Everyone had grown brave as a result, roaring with approval, and Naruto was sleeping soundly. More people helped out another day. It was a successful run. A man wearing a black cloak and a mask with red clouds was crossing the recently renamed Heroes Bridge in Wave Country. When he arrived at the Wave countryside, he looked around and saw that although the area appeared impoverished, people were content. Damn, where is Jinchuriki? He kept looking for the Yuki, but he couldn't find it. Then he reached a spot in the forest where there was a very small minuet amount of Yuki. Here was the Jinchuriki. 3 or 4 days ago. Maybe 5, but no more than 7. Every other trace has already been eliminated. Whoever it was, hold on. He approached what appeared to be a burned out area and said, I'll check the area where the explosion happened. Oh no, if Deidara saw this, he would have a great time. This appears roughly 24 hours after the other location. But no, Yuki. He strolled around the area. Faint. Very, very faint. There is no Jinchuriki present. No longer. Obviously, I just missed him, he said, making a series of hand signals. Random cave. Kakuzu said, Leader, I have my report from Wave Country. The man said, you were supposed to watch the Jinchuriki. The Jinchuriki has already left Wave Country. But you might want to send Deidara here for a second. I'm at the wreckage of whatever exploded. The flames are still around, and the ground is highly charred. It looks to have been done maybe yesterday, but with the explosion I saw, and the possibility of no one changing things around here, I'd say the possibility of it being a few days old would be possible. Have you determined which one it was, at the least? Closest guess would be Hachibi or Nibi. Kyubi is also possible, but not likely. There is no way they'd be able to hide that much Yuki after only 2 days. Then we have lost the signal. I will send Deidara to your location. He will survey the carnage himself, and let me know. The gentleman replied quietly. Understood. 1 day later, Konohagakure, Kakashi, Haku, Hinata, Sasuke, and Naruto were approaching the east gate. Halt. State your business. Team 7 returning from a mission to Wave, with a possible new addition to the village. Kakashi informed them. Very well, and the new addition, Haku, surname. Unimportant at this point in time, as I am having trouble choosing between adopted father or clan name. Haku stated to them. One of the guards said, excuse me, I am not sure if I should give the clan name, which is dead, or the surname of my adopted father, who actually treated me like a daughter, unlike my real father, who tried to kill me. Haku stated to them. She gave Sasuke a startled look when he said, just give them the clan name. What? They want a name, give them what they want. It's better that way, sometimes. The last Uchiha, Sasuke, was speaking as if he were close to the girl, and the guards turned to watch him. Alright, but only for you. The clan name is Kori, but I have been going by Momochi for the past 6 or 7 years. Haku stated to them. Momochi, yes. Said Haku, I would not be going by either of them, though. Especially after something that Sasuke and I had agreed on earlier, should I be accepted into the village. Naruto yelled, wait a minute. You aren't seriously thinking about. Smiles, Sasuke said, we already have it done, Uzumaki. All we'd need are the papers to make it official, and we're good. Naruto let out a sigh. The guards exchanged glances. It was clear that they were confused. Alright, but you have to go to the Hokage. Haku bowed her head and said, thank you, sirs. Sasuke, Haku, asked Kakashi, you two are coming with me for the report, as we will need everything said, along with this new development. 3 days in the making, Kakashi, sensei. We have completely showed each other our memories, and we're good with it. Sasuke stated to him. Kakashi, Sasuke, and Haku departed in a shunshin after saying, well, let's get going then. Both Hinata and Naruto shrugged. Then Naruto turned to face the guards. Do you know if anyone from Takigakure, or Tsunade of the Sannin are here at the moment? Yes, someone from Takigakure is here, as of this morning. Why? Naruto said, thanks, that's all I needed to know, and then leapt away. With a shake of her head, Hinata said, he really needs to learn restraint. She leapt after him and said, well, that's why I like him, I suppose. In search of the waterfall guest, Naruto was bouncing around the rooftops. Sensing a familiar chakra, he paused in front of Ichiraku's. It couldn't be. He leapt to his feet and entered. Happy greetings, Tsuki, Ayame, from Naruto. The greeting was, Naruto. Welcome back, Ayame said. The usual, you know it, Naruto exclaimed, grinning. The person at his side inquired, so, this is your favorite hangout? Without even glancing at her, he answered, that it is. The girl said, you're not even surprised that I'm talking to you here. Still avoiding eye contact, Naruto said, why should I be? After all, this is the only place that wouldn't hold something that's not under your control against you. Well, the people around here don't know me. No surprise there, but if they see you around me, they might think I did something to your mind, or something. Things get blown so much out of proportion around here, it's not even funny. So, I'd be careful if I were you, Fu. Naruto said, causing Ayame and Tsuki. Ayame questioned, Naruto, you actually know her? Of course I know her. She's more like me than anyone else in the village, said Naruto. Tsuki's eyes widened, you mean? Yeah, she is. Well then, it's obvious that Naruto would trust you. Being so much like him. Tsuki replied to her. No surprise there, I kind of asked for a mission to come here just to meet with him. My village leader was surprised at the request, but then again, he's heard of weirder things. The girl, who is now referred to as Fu, replied. Naruto said, yeah, so why did you ask to come here? I'm curious. Well, I'm here to help with relations between the two villages. The council would normally be surprised at the request, but they were actually for it when I actually started to talk about what I was planning. Fu responded. They were shocked when I told them, but even more so that you would have accepted, something I figure you'd do. Why don't we talk about this later? Have you met with the Hokage yet? Before Sasuke entered, Fu stated, yes, and he is already in the know. He did say he wanted to see you when you got here. He informed him, Naruto, the Hokage wanted to see you. Something about a girl wanting to meet up with you. Just before the appearance of an Anbu, Naruto glanced at him. Before realizing that both were present, the Anbu remarked, I swear, it's hard enough to keep track of one Jinchuriki. Oh, so you've already met. The Hokage would like to see you both. Both Naruto and Fu nodded, completed the task at hand, and then stood up. Thanks for the meal, old man. Chuki answered, anytime, Naruto. And I hope you come back, Fu. Before dozing off, Fu questioned, with food this good in a place that wouldn't care about my burden, why wouldn't I? After smiling, Naruto departed via fire teleport. Chuki cried, wait, he didn't pay. Sasuke pointed to the cash and said, yeah he did. He turned to the Anbu, who simply shrugged, and said, don't ask me how he pays so quickly, and without others noticing, because I still have no clue. Figures. I seriously have to find out how the hell he does that. Hokage's workspace. Fu and Naruto came into the room simultaneously. Sarutobi said, ah, it seems you've both already found each other. Naruto questioned, how could I forget her chakra signature? I went looking for unfamiliar chakra signals, but I found hers as I passed Ichiraku's, and we talked a bit. Sasuke came in, followed closely by an Anbu. Came here when the Anbu told us you wanted to see us. Did you manage to hear the little plan she came up with before they got to you? Sarutobi inquired. Kind of hard not to, when I helped come up with it. Is it still the same, or did they alter it? He heard Fu say, dead center same. To Sarutobi's surprise, Naruto remarked, then I already know the full situation, and the reasoning behind each action. Quick question, how did they react? I caught some shock, one with awe, others had, WTF. Expressions, and then there was one that had a, HFS. Expression on her face, and to think the awe was from the leader, Shibuki, and the HFS face was an elder. Fu chuckled. Naruto said, please tell me you got pictures. Fu handed one set to Sarutobi and another to Naruto and said, in triplicate. Sarutobi, that set was originally for Sasuke, so don't ruin them. After going through his set, Naruto refrained from laughing until he was done. Sarutobi complied, saying, Gigi. Seals, please. He then completed his set. They both burst out laughing. At that, Fu grinned. Fu said, I take it they are to your liking. Both of them gave a nod. Hinata is going to love these. Well, one set was for blackmail, another was for the two of you, since you live together, and the last set was for Sasuke, just so he could get a few laughs in. She explained to Naruto. Sarutobi said, no kidding, and returned the set to her. He can still hear the laughter. Naruto said, all right, here's another question. How many of the back-ups did you have to use? Only had to use the first one. I didn't have to go for the other 5. Fu replied. Wow, the whole Jinchuriki being gone giving them less danger matter worked wonders, did it? Naruto responded. Talk about playing on their ignorance. That was kind of the point, remember? Fu responded. Sarutobi was taken aback when Naruto said, yeah, I remember. Wait a minute, the first idea was to use their own ideals against them. Jinchuriki are feared, and because of that fear, hatred can be born. Get rid of the source of the fear, misplaced or not, the hatred can diminish, and then even leave. Naruto stated to him. The second one was actually a ploy on their minds, but I left that part to her. Fu gave a nod. The third reasoning I could have given is the fact whole Akatsuki idea, though I probably wouldn't have gone that far. The fourth idea was actually Hinata's idea. Scare a few of them by releasing a bit of her Bijuu's chakra. Naruto said, after all, the Bijuu are known to cause fear to the masses. The fifth idea was using a type of heat-induced illusion, and yes, I can do that. Fu went on. The final idea was a last resort, though only a bluff. It was to threaten to release the Bijuu, but we all know that's not happening. Naruto said, if they didn't let her come by then, that would get her out of the village like nothing else. Sarutobi questioned, and you didn't go past the first one. I must say, I am a little impressed. but the sixth one was a bit too far, if you ask me. Naruto said, and that's why it was a last resort. Sarutobi said, you thought that out quite a bit. How did you come up with them? Simple psychology, reverse psychology, along with mental and emotional warfare. Fu stated. And don't forget, you have the Konoha's prank demon here. Now that is a title that I can actually respect. Naruto replied. By the way, are the others in the area, as well? Fu inquired, namely, Hinata. Before he closed his eyes, Naruto stated, she's somewhere around the village. Hey, she went to my place already. It's too bad you can't get in there right now. Since you let me know about it, I took the liberty of getting a small blood sample. Sarutobi said. Startled, Fu remarked, wait, you said that was to allow me into the village. I already knew why you were here, so I asked for it. This way he only had to make the adjustment to allow you in there. Sarutobi said. Naruto inquired, how much did you get? 2 pints. Naruto informed him, I only need 1 pint, but you didn't know that much. Alright then, now that I know, at least I know just how much it was needed. The other pint will go to the hospital for records. Sarutobi replied. After consuming 1 pint, Naruto departed using the fire teleport. He returned to the office 5 minutes later. She nodded, and the two of them walked out the window. Fu, it's ready, let's get going. Those two are going to be a pain in the ass later on. I just know it, Sarutobi thought. Uchiha Estate, with Haku at his side, donning a pair of ghost glasses and an amulet of ghost speak herself, Sasuke was conversing with his mother. Makoto said, so, this is who you chose, huh? Doesn't seem like much, if you ask me. Sasuke remarked, you have got to be kidding me. Makoto grinned and said, you're right, I am. She's actually a lot more powerful than she looks, and that much I can tell. It also seems as if you have a bloodline yourself. You're right, and it has already been proven to have multiple bloodlines, so I'm not worried. Haku replied to her, another chakra based bloodline would cancel mine out, but not a dujutsu, which he has. Aside from that, I can use Hyouden. So can she. That's not right, your father and I could never use Hyouden. You don't have the bloodline for it. I do, and we found out why he can use it, without the bloodline, or the elements I use for it, wind and water. Sasuke said, wind is close to impossible for me. I have fire and lightning naturally. Then there's ice from when I was allowed to sign with the dragons. Oh no, the old prophecy of the dragons. It talks about you. Sasuke takes the stone blade out. You mean the one regarding this? Sasuke asked, exposing the blade with chakra. To use it, one must sign with the dragons, and have 3 affinities, fire, ice and lightning. I also gained the eternal Mangekyo when I could use it. I skipped over the original Mangekyo, which Itachi has. He's still not aware of my being able to use it. Well then, we better get started. Would you like to watch, Haku? Makoto responded. I don't see why not. I'd have to learn the ways of the Uchiha myself sooner or later. Not the old ways. We're basing the new Uchiha clan on someone else's ideals. Naruto's ideals. No arrogance, and no ignorance. The new Uchiha clan will not think it is the best, just because of our bloodline. That was the downfall of the old Uchiha clan. We're not going to go for the old ways, but forge a new path. Makoto remarked, you've grown, Sasuke. Those are the ideals I wanted you to inherit, not your father's, which are being too prideful, and thinking he's better than anyone else. That was his mistake. I don't intend on making the same mistake he did. Sasuke stated to her, if I do, I'd rather gouge my own eyes out. If there's one thing that I want more than a new age for the Uchiha clan, it's that I help Naruto with his whole Madara problem. If nothing else, he deserves the help, and a few friends. He's been put through hell, and stayed sane throughout it all. Not even a Uchiha can do that and not go insane. Makoto gave a nod. Alright, time to train your Sharingan in its eternal form. He still needs to finish working with his Hyouden, but I think that can wait until tomorrow. Haku stated to her. Makoto informed her, I understand that, and we're only doing this once a week. Haku nodded before observing Sasuke evade everything and even eliminate the incoming drones. Uzumaki Estate. In the field, Naruto, Hinata, and Fu were seated. Hinata said, so, you're finally here, huh? Yeah, and, surprisingly, it's to stay. I didn't tell the Hokage that it's to stay here, but it is, and I think he already figured it out. They don't want me back, and that's a good thing, For us, at least. Fu stated to them. Naruto smiled and said, niece. You going to join the shinobi force? Fu acknowledged, no, I don't plan on it. I'm going to stay a civilian, and the Hokage would know about this when the records I have are sent. That is, if they were going to send it. Hinata questioned in surprise, you mean they wouldn't send it? Fu arched an eyebrow and asked, do you really think they can when it's in the possession of Kabutomushi clan? Before they entered the cave behind the waterfall, Hinata said to her, point taken. Come on, I'll show you around the place. Naruto used that time to work on the armor some more. It has grown to be his largest endeavor to date, and he even constructed a forge nearby that is powered by a replica of the Amaterasu flames. Naruto, Hinata, and Fu strolled around town while 30 clones worked on the armor pieces and another 20 worked on water manipulation because they had the following day off. Iruka left through the front door as they arrived in front of the academy. Naruto, I was about to go looking for you. I heard you got back to the village yesterday from a C rank. I wanted to talk to you about it, maybe over ramen. Naruto said, nah, no ramen for now, and then stopped. Oh yeah, Iruka. Sensei, meet Fu. Fu, this is one of the few that didn't exactly hate me once he got to know me. He's kind of like a brother to me. Fu gave him a look. Hey, he's a good one. Pardon, inquired Iruka. Fu told him, don't worry too much about it. Anyway, we were just walking around. Nothing really to do right now. Well, Naruto could be training. Doing that back at the house. I still have to unlock it. Aside from that, I've been working on one project recently, and it's one I came up with by combining multiple projects together. Naruto informed him, so yeah, nothing really to do. Come to think of it. Hinata asked, unsure if she wanted to hear the response, what are you thinking? Suspense was increased by Naruto's prolonged silence. His expression then changed to a smile, which Hinata saw right away. Okay, what are you planning? Naruto gave her a look. Naruto fled in flames, saying, nothing that big. Just something that came to me. Be back in a few. Fire clone, inquired Hinata. That wasn't a fire clone, I said. What on earth are you thinking, Naruto? Hinata, he's blocking it from even me. Something that I don't think is good for either of us. I'll keep you posted as needed. Thanks Kyuubi, I just hope he doesn't get himself hurt. Oh shit, the Forest of Death. Iruka. Sensei, what's the Forest of Death? Why do you ask? Hinata answered, I think that's where Naruto's at. Yeah, that's where he's at, and there's someone else here. Damn, it's the crazy snake bitch. Okay, what? The crazy snake bitch is also known as Anko Mitarashi. An outcast, to be precise. And he's talking to her. Wait a minute, she's actually being friendly with him. Why didn't he tell me about her? Well, wait, it's more like his relationship with Iruka, from what I can see. Sibling, not girlfriend. Hinata gave Iruka a quick look. Sensei, are you familiar with Anko Mitarashi? According to Iruka, vaguely. She's been known to seduce anyone just to get in their pants. I haven't met her myself, but being with Naruto has shown me that I shouldn't judge people based on others' opinions. If I did, Naruto wouldn't be like a brother to me. Why? He's talking with her. Fu questioned, how do you know this? Mr. Nine is giving me a bit of a play-by-play. It seems like their relationship is more like siblings, according to him, said Hinata. Before approaching the south side of the forest, Hinata shivered, she just kissed his forehead. Forget sibling. More like mother. Kyuubi, where in the forest are you? Southeast corner. Approximately 2 kilometers away from your position, 20. We're on our way. Iruka, Fu, and Hinata finally touched down in the clearing after a few minutes. Naruto, why did you come in here? It's dangerous. Surprised, Naruto said, Iruka, sensei. I was just meeting with Anko. I remembered that I hadn't seen her since before that Inuzuka prank I played before all this strange shit kept coming up, so I thought I could fill her in. Naruto, you know her. With a suspicious look at Fu, Anko said to them, yeah, he's like a little brother to me. One I wish I had, but at the same time, I never could. Who are you? My name is Fu, and I'm more like Naruto than you, I'd wager. She replied. Her eyes widened as Anko said, unless you were a Jinchuriki, you wouldn't be. No, you mean. Yeah, I was about to get to the meeting, guys. What meeting? Inquired Iruka. Hinata nodded and asked, summons meeting. Anko questioned, wait, you already got a summon, Gaki. Naruto informed her, I have 3. Toad, Phoenix, and Kitsune. Sweet huh. Anko crossed her arms and said, I'll say. You got really lucky with that. The snakes don't get along with anyone else. I'd really want to get rid of them, but my fighting style revolves around them. Now, can we get back to the little story of yours? After chuckling, Naruto went on. After some time, Naruto stopped for a moment. The wave mission had only just begun for him. What, is that all you've done in all this time? Replied Anko. Before he could finish, Naruto threw a kunai into the brush. No, it's not, it's just, he said. Everyone was alerted by this. With an air of total composure, Naruto questioned, are you going to stay hidden or are you finally going to come out? Kurenai showed up holding his kunai. Is this how you greet visitors? No, it's how I flush out an eavesdropper that do a poor job at hiding themselves. Naruto replied. Poor, she inquired. And just how was that poor? Because I know you've been there since Hinata entered the forest. You knew, inquired Hinata. Of course I knew, why wouldn't I know where my fiancé is? Replied Naruto. Hinata said without looking down, oh, fiancé, huh, why didn't you tell me about this, Hinata? She inquired. Hinata raised an eyebrow and said, Kurenai, I didn't say anything because of all the weird things going on. I've been a little too busy lately. And what exactly have you been doing? Surely he hasn't been taking advantage of you. 'Cause if he has. If you touch him, I will hurt you. Hinata said in a chilly tone to Kurenai. Kurenai was taken aback. When did you get so much confidence? From him. He's done nothing but help, and I've been trying to find a way to pay him back for it. He's had the perfect chance to get, you know, but he always refused that act. Girls are just perverts, Kurenai sneered. Why do you think I created the sexy jutsu in the first place? Replied Naruto. Too many perverts in the area. I use their interests against them with it. There is no man in the village that I have used it on, or its second level, and stayed conscious. If they're up from the second level, I go to the third level, but that was only once. Come to think of it, I wonder if that guy is still in the hospital. Anko said, the hospital. For blood loss, probably. Nope. From what I could tell, a few second-degree burns, with several first-degree burns, a ruptured left eardrum, a few broken bones from the fall afterwards, and then slight blood loss, but that was minor compared to everything else. Naruto replied, I was about to go into my last mission, so you know. Was Hinata there? Hinata informed her, yeah, I know why you're asking. Come on over, we've got 2 side stories for it. Naruto began explaining the mission, but he stopped when he reached Zabuza's appearance. Okay, this is where things get a little different. I left the team for a bit, to keep someone else away from the area. She wasn't good enough to hide from my senses, but she was able to hide from Kakashi, sensei. What, you mean to tell me you can pick up Kakashi when he's nearby? Actually, I can find Anbu with relative ease. Elite Anbu at that. He, however, was focused on Zabuza. I left the others to hold off Zabuza, more likely to take him out, and keep her from interfering. I had her trapped in an area where neither of us could leave until the fight between Zabuza or the rest of my team was dead. It was a gamble, but I knew they could handle it. Hinata, you went up against Zabuza Momochi and lived. I had Sasuke and Kakashi sensei with me. It was a group effort, and I mainly played defense for the client, said Hinata. The only thing I really did to him myself was a little kitsune illusion that slowed his reaction time. Even then, Sasuke was tired, Kakashi sensei was a little tired as well, but not as much as Sasuke. Hinata told her story. Tell me how they did it. I'm curious. By the time they were done, Kurenai was astonished. You mean Kakashi's been focusing on the Uchiha? Hinata answered, he's actually been teaching all of us. But even then there's not much he can teach us other than ninjutsu, as taijutsu was taken for all of us, and we're all learning genjutsu or something similar from someone else. Something like genjutsu? Inquired Anko. Yeah, the kitsune illusions are similar to genjutsu, and only Hinata and I can learn them. Secret of the kitsune summons, so don't ask. Also, they're made so no one can copy them without full contact with a kitsune that you are on good terms with. Even then, they have to teach you. Naruto stated to her. Anko apologized and said, sorry, Nai-chan. Looks like you wouldn't be able to learn them. Kurenai inquired, who are your usual kitsune summons? Hinata received a nod when she stated, mine is Katuno. I've been learning from him. Mine was once a summon, but is not considered one. Kind of helps when he's sealed in you, you know, said Naruto. Wait, you mean, yeah, he's been helping me out. Naruto heard Anko remark, it's too bad my curse won't go away. Naruto surprised Anko by asking, if I may ask, why haven't you asked me for help regarding that curse on your neck? With a hopeful tone, Anko asked, you think you could do something about it? Naruto acknowledged, if I had time to analyze it, I don't see why not. Unfortunately, it would take a bit before I could come up with a solution. Anko said, I see. Think you can start now. She moved her collar so that it was visible. If I can get rid of it, the sooner the better. Naruto glanced once before being cut off. The harsh, authoritative tone of Kyuubi's voice startled Naruto a little. Naruto, get in here. Now. Why must you interrupt this? What's so important? A solution that works on seals twice as hard as that one to crack. No doubt that it will get rid of it, or at the very least, purify it. Naruto glanced at the others, including Anko. Kurenai glanced, optimistic. She and Anko must be friends. Naruto went to a nearby tree and began to practice meditation. Hinata understood the meaning of the action. What's going on? Inquired Anko. Why isn't he studying it? Hinata answered, I think one look had the Kyuubi get an idea. Hinata sat beside him, established a mental link, and began to meditate. And the idea itself is being explained in his mindscape. Good thing I already know how to go in there. The mindscape of Naruto. The fox behind the bars caught Naruto's attention. Are you sure it will work? Listen, I'm waiting for the purification myself. Half the corruption in me is in that mark, not to mention it's less dense, meaning it's easier to get rid of. As she passed through the sewers, Hinata listened. At this point, she approached the two. I figured you had an idea, Lord Kyuubi. So, you came as well. I don't think I'll need to do anything else, but he's still a bit to go for water manipulation before he can execute this one. Hinata questioned, wait a minute. His bloodline can get rid of it. Either that, or purify it completely. Either one will work, as it will not only destroy the corruption, but also any mental influence by the one that placed it in the first place. It will also prevent whoever placed it to use it. Naruto questioned, and that's why it would work. That's the only thing I can think of, but I have the full facts of it already. It's already sealed up, so we have some time. But if the bastard to place it comes by, he or she can still activate it. Hinata and Naruto both said, I see, at the same time. Thanks for the idea, this is a good one, if not for the fact that I can't use it yet. You are close, aren't you? Yes, he's actually almost there. Finish off that A-rank water jutsu, and you'd be good. To which Naruto answered, got it. You might want to head out there, and let them know about it. Before he could finish, Naruto departed. Hinata gave a headshake, sorry about that. He does it all the time. I'm not worried. With a shrug, Hinata walked away. Clearing. Both Hinata and Naruto opened their eyes. Naruto said, all right, I have both good and bad news. Anko inquired, what's the good news? I can at least purify it, if not get rid of it with what came up, said Naruto. And the bad news? Inquired Kurenai, I can't pull off the plan yet. Keyword. Yet, I will be able to once my bloodline activates, but that's about it. Naruto stated to them. Kurenai and Anko exchanged glances. How long? I can't say for sure, but now I have another reason to unlock it as soon as possible. I can't let Anko suffer from that thing. Sure, it's sealed right now, but that's not enough, especially if he comes here. He could still activate it. Naruto stated to them. Well, since the one that placed it is a rogue, he wouldn't come here. Which one? With an unpleasant taste in her mouth, Anko said, Orochimaru. But Naruto's blood ran cold, and he lowered his head, his eyes dark. What's wrong? The link was still open when Hinata used it. Oh no. Kurenai asked sharply, what is going on here, Hinata? Anko's eyes went wide as she said, he's pissed. Even after she gave Naruto a hug, he remained uneasy. He joined in after Hinata and Fu did. Kurenai was thinking, if the name alone isn't enough to calm him down, then something bad is going to happen if he actually shows up. A voice informed her, it wouldn't be that bad, Kurenai. Telepathy, so don't talk out loud. There's a reason for this reaction from Naruto. He already knows that the snake bastard is after another friend of his. To know that he did that to her, especially since she's like family to him, this kind of reaction is expected. Wait, what? Why would he think of her as family? When you consider that they are both outcasts, the adage, birds of a feather flock together, fits this situation quite well. I see. Wait, are you the Kyuubi no Yoko? I don't know why you humans don't see the difference between a Yoko and a Kitsune. Yoko are corrupt, and far more deceitful than Kitsune. Kitsune are pranksters, but can be deadly if their playful nature goes too far, and they actually do want to take someone out. Naruto's the perfect example of a Kitsune. Serious when need be, but playful when it isn't. I can't see the difference. But if I had an example, that would help. You've got Naruto as an example for Kitsune. Only deadly when pissed. Yeah, I get that much. Think Orochimaru of the Sannin, only as a fox. That's a Yoko. Although that might be sugarcoating it. I'm the only Kitsune that has been on both sides of the spectrum, but I prefer Kitsune over Yoko any day. The day I was forced to attack, and yes it was forced, I was trying to hold back as much as I possibly could that day. I'm happy with my current cage for the time being. It keeps me away from the reason I left his mother. His mother, Kushina Uzumaki, Kurenai, she was my Jinchuriki before Naruto. She died when I was removed by the bastard that caused me to attack. I'm seriously hoping to get rid of him with Naruto's help. Until then, I can't say much else, but he's agreed to help me, and I've agreed to help him. He gets better, and I am freed from the damn Jubi. Now that I think on it, holy shit, why didn't I notice it before? Pardon, Kushina was my sensei for a year. Why did I not notice that he acts exactly like her? Quiet, hello, sorry, I didn't expect the outburst. Okay, here's the gist of it. He's waiting for Tsunade, that way he can learn a bit of medical ninjutsu. Thanks to the massive boost in his control with Jiraiya's help, he actually can use it. We've only got basic first aid down, and I've been helping him in the knowledge area. Being a few thousand years old helps wonders with history. Well, I can help a bit. Kushina did teach me a bit about medical ninjutsu, and she learned from Tsunade herself. Then we should wait until he unlocks his bloodline, so he can get rid of the curse mark. He's almost willing to forego the armor we've been spending almost a month to come up with for this. Armor, something that would make a fine alternative to the Jinchuriki cloak, which normally burns his skin, while protecting him from enemy ninjutsu and genjutsu. We've already started building it. Okay, why are you so willing to help him? Mutual benefit. For now, that's all you really need to know. If not for his bloodline, I probably wouldn't be as helpful, but I think we should leave the what-ifs alone. If he starts to forego any contact with Hinata, and she comes to you, it's because of the situation with Anko. Even with the three of them trying to calm him, he's not completely calm. He is thoroughly pissed at the snake bastard, and if we remove it completely, we're giving her something else to prevent him from placing another. Hinata has it, Sasuke has it, even Naruto has it. I've been preparing Naruto, and he's been preparing them. The next Chunnin exams, if Kakashi lets them participate, go along with it. We have a separate plan, should Orochimaru appear like Naruto, and I think security is usually lower during the time of the finals. Perfect time to brand someone, or maybe invasion. You think that's what he'd be after? I'd say the former, but both of them are not out of the question. For now, this is only speculation, regardless of the odds of either one being as high as they are. So, don't worry about it until it happens. That's basically it. If something happens, and he tries to mark Sasuke, as I figure he would, it won't take hold. Something we've made sure of. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Humans may be filled with traits I hate, mainly arrogance and ignorance, but they have some pretty sweet ideas. That's all I've got. If you have any questions, ask Hinata. I can tell you're close to her. She's not the same as she was before she graduated. Of that, I can guarantee. Thanks, I think. Kurenai received no reply. She gave Hinata a look. The girls gave her a look but shook their heads when she said, Hinata, Anko, Fu, I think we should let him get to what he needs to do. And Hinata, you and I need to talk about a few things. He's got a lot to work on. Hinata informed her, he needs comfort. I can't let it go like this. She turned back to him and said, Hinata, I need to do this. Anko needs the help, and I can give it. Please, let go for a while. I have to cool off somehow, and don't follow me because it's bound to get dangerous in the area. Anko, you said to stay out of the northeast sector, right? No, you aren't seriously thinking of. Naruto informed her, yeah, that's the best place for me right now. I have to do this. Reluctantly, they all let go. Naruto then fled in flames after saying, "Thanks. I'll get to it as soon as I can." Anko caught Hinata by the shoulder just as she was ready to follow him. She said, "Let him go, girl. Why should I let him risk his life? His life's always been on the keen edge of a blade. There's nothing we can do about that. I use that same area to blow off a lot of steam. It works for us outsiders with massive tempers. Violent, but only dangerous for those in the area. And with him, she followed his path. He needs the solitude, because he's worse than I am when pissed. And they call me the crazy snake bitch." Hinata gave a nod. "Are you sure he'll be okay? I'll be in the area, so if I hear the explosions stop, then I'll go in after him. Until then, I believe it best we leave him be." Anko informed them, "My word may not be much, but when it comes to him, my word is as good as his." After a minute of staring at her, Hinata noticed the desperation on his face. She is telling the truth. She truly loves him. "All right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. There's a clearing in the southern forests. It has a 6-pronged shuriken in the center. When he's done, put him there, and I'll know. That shuriken is a marker we use for others, and when one of us is close enough to it, the other knows." Anko gave a nod. Hinata and Fu departed after saying, "I'll do that. Thanks for the advice." Kurenai and Anko exchanged glances. "What is he to you?" "I already said this, Kurenai. He's a little brother to me. We outcasts have to stick together. If I could have adopted him when he was younger, I very well would have." "Damn council blocked every attempt." Anko replied, "I tried maybe 30 times. I finally stopped trying, but I never stopped trying to protect him. Sometimes, when he was attacked, some of the attackers had Senbon in their bodies. No one ever figured out who did it." Surprised, Kurenai said, "That was you." With a cold voice and a face far worse than Orochimaru's, Anko said, "Who else?" "Birds of a feather flock together, Kurenai. He and I are the same in many ways. There is no fucking way in fucking hell that I would ever stop caring for him. That is absolute." Kurenai got chills from it. Yes, she takes it seriously, and it appears that the Kyuubi was correct in that statement. "Whoa, did I just agree with the village attacker?" Anko spoke before the idea could continue. "I suggest you get going. You're going to want to talk to Hinata, of that I am sure. Best to do it before she gets to her home, since not even I can enter it. Hell, even the Hokage can't enter it. So you better hurry if you want the explanation." Kurenai gave a nod before driving off in a shunshin. Conversely, Anko moved to the northeast quadrant's edge. For several hours, there were still explosions. Anko entered after they had paused for 5 minutes and discovered Naruto cuddling with a 10-foot tall spider. A couple of wolves obstructed her path. "Wait a minute, I'm only here at his fiancée's request. She wanted him at a certain spot when he was done. I'm only making good on my word here." She was snarled at by the wolves. She gave a headshake. A snake came in and said, "I'm sorry, but I can't understand you guys." Snakes, I can. Wolves, not so much. It began conversing with Anko. Then she realized what was going on. After glancing at the others, the snake nodded to Anko and said, "Oh. I didn't realize he was on good terms with these guys. Did they know of his fiancée?" "So, they know of her, but not who she is, huh?" A smile. "Damn, that complicates things. She gave me the benefit of a doubt, and I can't make do on what I said if I don't get him to the spot she told me about." The snake began to speak again. Something about a 6-pronged shuriken. Southern forests. The others nodded as the snake turned to face them. Then the snake informed Anko. The snake resumed its conversation, asking, "Wait, there's one here." Oh shit, they wouldn't let her go that far in. Unless she brought in some kind of proof. The snake gave Anko the idea after giving it a thoughtful look. The snake glanced at the others, who nodded and placed Naruto on their back. They know of her summons. That could help with the proof. The two of them are the only ones that can summon Kitsune. In fact, until today I hadn't even heard of a Kitsune contract. Anko let out a sigh as they fled. "I told her my word is as good as his when it comes to him, and I can't even make good on it. This sucks. If I'm not there, she'll think I didn't go for it." After giving a nod, the snake spoke. "So they already know of the problem I have with this." A smile. "I just hope she understands. We outcasts have to stick together." Anko nodded as the snake told her something. The snake nodded in agreement before pursuing them. "Thanks. I appreciate the help. Hopefully she understands." After 10 minutes, while speaking with Fu, Hinata paused in the middle of her sentence. "What's up?" inquired Fu. Before getting up and leaving the area with Wind, Hinata remarked, "That's not the place I told her. That's still in the Forest of Death. But I didn't know there was one of them there." A clone of Naruto turned to face Fu. She used a wind teleport to get to the location he's at. I can't help but wonder why he was taken there. Wait, maybe it has to deal with the wildlife. They don't trust Anko that much. Hinata was surrounded by a number of wolves, a six-pronged shuriken, and Naruto directly in front of her. When they were much less cordial, Hinata said, "I told Anko to bring her to the southern forests. And why isn't she here?" The wolves then turned to face her and began talking, saying, "Oh, shut it. I gave her a chance, and she messed it up. What about my summons? Why does that matter?" The wolf informed her of their findings. And this will help because they didn't trust her either, so the second wolf told her it was Anko's idea. Not with Naruto. Hinata said nothing. She called forth Kutuno while biting her thumb. After noticing the wolves, Kutuno asked, "Hinata, what's up? Please tell me I don't have to fight those wolves." After exchanging glances, the wolves nodded to her and allowed her to approach Naruto. One of the wolves nodded when she said, "He's on good terms with the wildlife here, isn't he? And you're a little protective over him too, huh?" Another winked. Did she at least try to explain herself? A snake came in. Kutuno and the snake were conversing. "Why is there a snake here?" Kutuno was given an explanation by the snake, while Hinata was given an explanation by the wolves. Kutuno approached Hinata. "Lady Hinata." She tried to explain the situation, and even was a little depressed that she wouldn't be able to see Naruto after this, because she wasn't able to get close to him because of them. According to Hinata, he got the same thing from them, aside from that last part. They were gone with him before it came up. She actually thinks she failed you by not getting to him. Hinata said, "I should fix that." She gave the wolves a look. "I'll take him home, don't worry that much about him. I wasn't aware of him being on good terms with those in this forest, which would help us quite a bit if we need another place to hide, or we can't leave the forest to hide." Anko tried to prove herself, and the fact she actually tried to get to him is good enough for me. I mean, the fact she thinks she failed is more than enough. I've recently found out she's like an older sister to him, maybe a mother. To her, he's more like a little brother. This was all recent, and she let him come here to blow off steam, regardless of me wanting him away from a place where his life was at risk. Turns out I was worried for nothing. The wolves gave a nod. Hinata gave Kutuno a look. "Find Anko. Tell her she's good in my book. She gets along with snakes, so she might smell like them." "No worries there. The snake that was here just left to tell her." Hinata gave a nod. "Head there, just in case. I need to be sure she gets the message. I'm not all that trusting of snakes, but her. I can trust her with this." Kutuno nodded and walked away. After expressing gratitude to the wolves, Hinata departed in a wind teleport alongside him. Kutuno gave the wolves a look. The wolves shrugged their shoulders and asked, "Any idea where she would be?" Kutuno jumped after the snake and discovered Anko on the south side of the forest, just beyond the boundaries. "Damn, got to go after the snake then. Anko Mitarashi, I presume." She noticed the two-tailed fox when she looked up. "What do you want?" "To talk about your little test earlier." "What about it?" "I failed to get to him, so I couldn't bring him to the spot she told me about." "And yet she still deems you worthy." Anko took notice of this saying. "Why, I failed to get to him. Yet you tried, and kept your word to the point that was possible. The wildlife was pretty protective of him, and they didn't trust you either." Lady Hinata now knows this, and understands the situation. "I heard it all from a snake. She got it from the wolves. She wasn't aware of the wildlife wanting to protect him either. As such, she has stated that you are worthy. Hey, I fail at the one thing I would never want to fail at, and I still pass. This is awkward, but I'm glad. Thanks for letting me know I'm not a total failure for not being able to help him. At least I can still see my little brother." Kutuno inclined his cranium. "Who knew you were such a softie?" Anko stated bluntly, "It's only when it comes to him. He's had a rough life. Some of the attacks on him when he was younger, well, the attackers had a few Senbon in their bodies. Courtesy of my rage, no child, demon or otherwise, should be treated like that." At that, Kutuno remained quiet. "Damn, you're being honest there. Hey, you really care for him." Similar circumstances. Bird of a feather flock together. We outcasts have to stick together, after all. "I see. You're taking care of your kind. That's what you'd do too, isn't it? Looking away, Katuno said, yeah, it is. I'm out. Never let go of that belief. Anko received a nod and a puff of smoke for saying, if I do, I'd commit suicide. If nobody else opens up, I'd probably follow suit. Other than Kurenai, Yugo, and Hana, the only Gaki I actually own is the blonde one. But I'm the only one who genuinely cared about him. I suppose the adage is accurate. After jumping off, Anko headed home.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.